Unlimited hydroplane racing, we call this the milling period when they come out, the 5 or 6 minutes before the start. The boats can cut the race course. They can cut it from the front straightaway to the back straightaway at the lower end of the race course. They can cut the race course from the back stretch to the front stretch at the top end of the race course. They can only cut across the race course in that type of a fashion. We're trying to make sure then we don't have any dangerous situations. And if you think maybe we had one of those dangerous situations and caused that rule change, that's exactly what happened. It was in Seattle about 25 years ago, but that's what went down. Okay, coming up on 25 seconds to the 6-minute mark. 6.5 to the start. Heat 1A, presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. The calm before the storm. I got many photographers standing out in front of me. I've got radio people standing out in front of me. I've got H1 officials. I got the drones flying. We're getting ready to go here. We are 2 seconds, 6 minutes. 6 minutes to the start. Keep an eye on the pit area over there. See if you don't start seeing some white water getting pushed as our boats come away from the dock. I am not sure we are going to see the 440, but we're definitely going to see the 9, the 8, and the 12. Haven't seen a whole lot of movement over there yet. They don't have to come out at 6 minutes. They can. We got one boat coming up and away. I'm being told the U8 with J. Michael Kelly and the U9 away from the dock with Corey Peabody. So we'll bring them across. Five minutes until the start. We have a green flag on the race course, 4 minutes and 50 seconds to the start. It's Heat 1A of the 2021 Lake Guntersville Hydro Fest, the race for the Southern Cup. Let's go hydroplane racing. It is about time. We've waited 21 months to do this. Let's hope we get a good one. Looks like J. Michael Kelly, if that's got the white cowling on it, it's certainly one of the Darrell Strong boats that is up at the top end of the race course. It looks like that's Corey Peabody coming up behind him at the 3/4 mark of the backstretch. J. Michael Kelly, our second fastest qualifier. Look at the water conditions out here. Everything is perfect. There is very much a silence right here at Lake Guntersville as JMK flies across start-finish line here. Talked to this young man last night. All he wants to do is drive. All he wants to do is race. He said he probably wouldn't sleep much last night. Like all of us, he is excited to see this happen. Here comes his teammate. Here comes his grade school classmate. Here comes his good buddy. Also the top qualifier, Corey Peabody, Pinnacle Peak Consulting, the U9. And at the top end of the race course, our third boat. Apparently we are not going to see the 440. The top end of the race course. It is the U12, the Graham Trucking, Andrew Tate. I got a nickel. Jeff Ayler says I make a mistake on that, and I put J. Michael Kelly in that 12. It's just been too many years.
That's going to be tough to get used to, Brad, this year. JMK in the number 8, Miss Tri-Cities. Corey Peabody, top qualifier in the Pinnacle Peak Consulting. Here's Andrew Tate, dominant red with the silver and black, the U12 Graham Trucking. Brad, it's the race before the race. Your lane is not assigned to you before the start. This is the milling period. This is where it gets interesting.
This is where it gets very interesting, and a lot can happen here. Like Jeff said, this is the race before the race. Your lanes are not assigned. So you're going to come and fight for that lane as you see our two boats go down to the lower end of the race course. Tate is on the inside of J. Michael Kelly at the lower end. Looks like Kelly went around him. Before J. Michael Kelly could move to the left in front of Andrew Tate, he would have to have 7 boat lengths. He certainly got that now if he wanted to move. But again, we're still very early. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to the start. 2:30, now 2:25. J. Michael Kelly, you see him slow down up the backstretch now. And Andrew Tate has yet to put his foot in the 12, the Graham Trucking. He's just been slowly going around the race course. as Corey Peabody comes off the bottom end of the race course here, and he's running with a little more authority up the backstretch. It's Corey Peabody, J. Michael Kelly, and Andrew Tate coming up on 2 minutes. 2 minutes until the start. Heat 1A, presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. There you see Andrew Tate cutting the race course from the back to the front. I mentioned that was a legal maneuver. He did it at the proper place on the race course, and there goes J. Michael Kelly across the race course, and he can do that. He can cut from the front stretch to the back when he is down at the lower end of the race course. That was legal. Now watch Tate as we watch the clock with 1:30 until the start. I think Andrew's going to go all the way down now with 1:30 on this 2.5 mile course. I like where Andrew Tate sits right now. He might find himself on the inside, but I'll tell you what, J. Michael Kelly is a master at getting lane one. He's going to come off the top end of the course behind everybody. Will he cut the course and try and jump to the inside? It's got 1:10. I don't think he's going to have to go around. I think he was too early to jump over and try and get in front of Andrew. So coming out of the bottom end of the race course, it's going to be Andrew Tate there first. We're inside 1:55 until the start. Heat 1A presented for the Lake Guntersville Hydrofest by the Redstone Federal Credit Union. 45 seconds until the start. It looks like it's going to be Tate in 1, Peabody in 2, and J. Michael Kelly on the outside as they'll go up to the top end of the race course. Now, it's those timing marks that they really haven't had a lot of time to experiment with here. But the idea is to take a race boat at 180 miles an hour, put it right here on the start-finish line, wide open when the clock strikes 0. And that's going to happen in 18 seconds. It's about a 16-second run off of the top end of the race course. And right now we are at 11 seconds. Whatever the timing is, they're going to come down here together because we are inside 8. In fact, we are inside 5. We are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 mark. And finally, we are racing as Corey Peabody takes him across start-finish line. 21 months in waiting, and Corey Peabody leads him across down to the lower end of the race course. He's got J. Michael Kelly with him on the outside. Where Tate's right there on the inside in the Graham Trucking. So off the corner down there, it is Corey Peabody in the middle, and on his left and on the inside is Andrew Tate on the outside. You cannot see him. It is J. Michael Kelly. The start was good. Everybody was legal at the start. A real strong run up the backstairs. Oh, look at Tate start to gobble him up a little bit on the inside. Tater on it. You haven't seen Kelly. He's right there with him. Top end of the race course, Corey Peabody. Got to leave room in there for Andrew Tate. He certainly does. Plenty of lane space. Kelly on the outside. We're going to go 3 times around here. And it is Corey Peabody from lane number 2 with the lead. And second place will go to J. Michael Kelly at the end of 1. Tate is in 3rd with the lane position on the inside. Corey Peabody driving that 9, driving it like a rocket. He likes this boat. He says he's getting more and more comfortable every. Oh, look at the race for second place down there. JMK on the outside. You can see the skid fin wall. Tater on the inside. But it's still Corey Peabody coming smartly down the backstretch. He is showing you that there is no question that top qualifying speed was legit. And he's 3/4 of the way up the backstretch right now. Look at the race for second place. J. Michael Kelly on the outside. JMK is driving an awfully big race course out there in lane number 3. And now the white flag will be displayed. The drivers will come down. That white flag tells them they got 1 lap to go. Tate right on the buoy row. Tate was right on the buoy. I don't know if he hit it, but he did go in. Where is Andrew Tate? Oh, there he is. He hooked to the inside of the race course. We'll get back to Andrew Tate. Our leader is Corey Peabody. Second place, his teammate, J. Michael Kelly. That is, from my perspective, that is not going to be an issue with Corey Peabody not giving Andrew Tate enough room up there. I think there was plenty of lane space in there. I think Andrew just got a little tight to the buoy row, maybe fell in a hole and hooked it. I was about to say I thought J. Michael Kelly might sit back and let this one go, pick up the 300 second place points. But JMK is starting to move smartly up the backstretch. He's in the rooster tail right now of his buddy, Corey Peabody. Corey Peabody shocking everybody here with a dominant run in our Heat 1A presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. He's just got to come off the top end of the race course and come down and pick up a checkered flag. It flies for him. Corey Peabody driving a 9. Wow. Pinnacle Peak Consulting Group comes in first. J. Michael Kelly and the Miss Tri-Cities, the U8, will come home in second place. Wow. They are telling the 12 and Andrew Tate to run an extra lap. That does not necessarily mean there is a penalty. We will clear that with the officials. Sometimes, if there is an infraction, he will have to run another lap. Sometimes they're not sure if there was an infraction, so they will review the tape and see what it is. But if it turns out that he needed to run an extra lap, they will have put one in the books.
Finishes out of Kentucky. That's their main paint supply.
There you go.
Mom,
But I have one
can you
more
text Kelly and Tate that I'm
for you.
on?
Carnival Orange is still on the U11. Right where the blue ends and morphs in toward the back of the boat and the chartreuse, there is a lightning bolt in there, and it is Carnival Orange. So you still got it.
We'll get that tabulated in.
We'll have it. All right, checking a watch here. 6 minutes. 6 minutes to the start of Heat 1B, presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. Inside 6 minutes, Dave Villwalk into Beacon Plumbing. Jeff Bernard in the Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. Jamie Nielsen, J&D Hydraulics out of Auburn, Washington. Just as I did with Covington, I make a comment that everybody must know where Auburn, Washington is, and probably most of you don't. Just a little bit south of the city of Seattle, on the west side of the mountains, by SeaTac Airport, not too far. It was my residence up until last September when I moved over to the east side of the state. 8-1B. 5 minutes and 15 seconds. 5:15 to the start. Heat 1B, Redstone Federal Credit Union. We got boats on the water. We got boats coming our way. Five minutes to the start of Heat 1B. So we'll pick them out of the sun as they come our way. Absolutely gorgeous conditions here on Lake Guntersville. The cloud cover filters out a little bit of the sun and the heat every once in a while. But the water conditions are great. Top end of the race course, Jamie Nielsen driving the 11. Chartreuse and royal blue J&Ds. And 10 seconds. 4:10 is Jamie Nielsen. They struggled here early in the morning, but they've got the boat up and running now, and it's looking pretty good. There is Jeff Bernard driving the Goodman Real Estate, presents the Miss Home Street to U1. Jeff Bernard out of the Pacific Northwest, looking only 4 now. Looking for Dave Villwalk in the 40 at the 3:45 mark. Monitor the radio here. See if we can find. We are missing Dave Villwalk. Not hearing anything official right now at the 3-minute and 20-second mark as Jamie Nielsen cuts the race course. Jeff going to do the same? Yes, he is. Jeff's going to do the same maneuver as Jamie. Coming up on 3 minutes until the start. 3 minutes. Boy, what a development this would be, Jeff Ayler, if all this anticipation to get Dave Villwock back in the seat and get him out racing. What a development if he did not show here for his first heat of racing.
Let's hope they can fix the problem if there is one at the dock of the U40 Beacon Plumbing. Dave Villwock, the all-time winningest driver in the sport of H1 Unlimited hydroplane racing. 67 victories, making his comeback after a 7-year absence. We hope he can make it, and Brad, he has to be on the course in a planing attitude prior to 1 minute.
And it is right now 2:30 until the start, so he's got about $1.20 to get that boat up on a plane, as Jeff said. He can't be plowing water, and it is a hefty penalty if he joins the race course after the 1 minute mark. So we'll watch that, and he's got about a minute 10 to make it out on the race course. Meanwhile, our two boats that are in the heat are at the top end of the course. Jeff Bernard is the first boat up there. Watch for Jeff to sit it right in lane number 1. I like where he sits right now. I think he can come all the way down and go all the way down to the lower corner. As we are now inside 2 minutes, we are at 1:50 until the start. Jeff actually would have an opportunity down here, I think, to cut the course if he wanted to. It's however he wants to play it. I think he's got plenty of time if he wanted to hit the throttle here and maybe run hard down and up the backstretch, do a lap in 1:30, don't know. But Jamie Nielsen might want to do something fancy here and maybe cut the race course at $1.25 before the start, but it looks like both of them are going to go all the way down. Jeff Ayler, 20 seconds, still no Dave Villwock.
Looks like Villwock will be a no-show here in Unlimited 1B. And Brad, right now I expect both drivers to be well behaved. It appears Jeff Bernard will be in lane 1, Jamie Nielsen in 2. That's good news for the J&D's team after struggles this morning. They'll make 1B. Brad, we're a minute away.
1 minute right there, and Dave Villwock is not on the water, so the Beacon Plumbing to U40 is going to be a no-show. Jeff Bernard halfway up the backstretch, inside 1 minute, make it 50 seconds until the start of our Heat 1B, presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. We're going to have a small field here, only a couple of boats, a little bit of a match race, but they can still hook it up and run side by side. Jamie Nielsen wants to get out there and measure his boat a bit. And what they mean by that is he wants to go out and run alongside Jeff Bernard, see what he's got. This is only the second or third time the boat has really run. Today was the first time the boat got in the water and they started to put things together to see what they had. Now it's the first time they can actually go out and run the boat in competition. They're coming off the top end of the race course with 12 seconds until they start making 10, 9, 8 as they come to the start. Can't cross the start finish line before the clock strikes 0. We're inside 5. We are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. Mark, and it looks like a legal start to me, and they're dead even as they cross the start finish line. Jamie Nielsen and Jeff Bernard hit the line exactly together with a lot of boats. It is a good start. Down to the lower end of the race course. Watch for Bernard on the inside. Got a nice lane on the inside. Got a nice corner, but you can see that skid fin on the outside. Jamie Nielsen is right there. Up the backstretch, Bernard now starts to open up a little bit, but just a little bit. He's got about 3, maybe 4 boat lengths up the backstretch. Jamie Nielsen's hanging with him, Jeff Ayler.
Brad, they work into turn number 2. Bernard has the advantage on the inside, shorter way around, and Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. Nielsen back in second, and J&D's about 6 boats. They come off the turn. Bernard in front.
Bernard is in front, swings it out to about lane number 2. Jamie slides out to about lane 3, maybe 3.5. Coming down still very close together. Good racing here in our Heat 1B, presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. Now it's Jeff Bernard out by a full rooster tail. As they go down toward the lower end of the race course here on lap number 2, and it is 2 of 3 times around this 2.5-mile race course. Bernard on the inside, Nielsen on the outside. Nielsen still hanging back there, staying within the rooster tail, and Jeff Bernard at least through the corner when there's that big wall of water off the skin fin. But now you see Jeff Bernard start to move it out. He's got a full rooster tail now. He's got clean sailing. He's also got Jimmy Shane up here who's talking to him on the radio, and he's going to tell Jeff where the good water is. Jeff Ayler, I think I can tell him where the good water is. This water right now is beautiful.
Beautiful water here in Unlimited 1B. You see Jeff Bernard extending the lead, making about one rooster tail as he'll come down to get the white flag. 2 in the books and 1 to go. And right now, Brad, Bernard trying to keep the number 1 alive, get those 400 points, put it back on the trailer, look to tomorrow.
Absolutely. Jeff Bernard will come down, looks to his right, picks up a white flag, 1 to go. Driving to U1, Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. And I'm going to tell you what, Jeff Bernard has got to be happy, but Jamie Nielsen driving the 11, Scott and Shannon Rainey, with the way this day started, the way the test session went over in the Tri-Cities when they never got the boat in the water, they have got to be very, very pleased at the way their boat is running right now. It's a 300-point run right now for Jamie Nielsen in second place. He's going to sit back. He's going to take it easy. He's going to let Bernard go. Second place at 300 points is nothing to sneeze at, as they are at the top end of the race course. On the third of 3 times around, the checkered flag is hanging here on start finish. Bernard negotiates the top end of the race course, goes out to about lane 2, maybe 2.5 or 3. He will come down. The checkered flag is waving. Jeff Bernard, winner of Heat 1B, presented by Redstone Federal Credit Union. 400 points for Jeff Bernard, but a nice run for Jamie Nielsen. He'll pick up 300 points, and they have got to be really pleased with that second place finish. I just high-fived one of their crew members. All he said to me was, baby steps. Well, they just took some good steps, Jeff. They've got to be really happy in that 11 camp right now.
Brad, you hit the nail on the head on that final time around for the 11, the J&Ds. 300 points for them right now with the struggles they had this morning. It's like $300,000. The 2 boats with heat wins here to begin the Southern Cup activity. Corey Peabody, Pinnacle Peak Consultant, winner of 1A with 400. Jeff Bernard with 400 here, and Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. When I came down to the Southern Cup, those were the 2 drivers I didn't think would get 400 after the first section. This shakes things up for tomorrow.
It certainly does, and it's certain.
Is that your boat or my boat?
Yours. The really bright one's yours.
Okay, no, but the noise?
Yeah, that was yours.
Okay.
Good heat. Nice heat. We'll do that draw after the Space Tech truck. So once I hear it, I'll come and get you.
Okay, I need to film it. Thank you.
Of Heat 2A. Typically on a race course, Jeff Ayler, you know this, they don't let the boats come out until the 5-minute mark. But because that pit area is so far over there, they're going to let them come out now at the 6-minute mark.
At the long distance, a great gesture by H1 Unlimited. Drivers out, very straight. Brandon, H1 Unlimited. That's what makes it so unique. Your lane is not assigned to you. When you leave the pit dock, you'll explain that. That's why when you draw these balls out to set these heats, anybody can win. Depends on what lane you're in and a good start.
Absolutely. You've got to get a good lane. You got to have clean water. You got to be at the start-finish line when a clock strikes 0, and you got to have a lot of boat speed. You better be moving when you get there. If you're a tick early and cross the start-finish line before the clock strikes 0, you win the opportunity to run an extra lap. We've got boats on a race course. Jamie Nielsen's going to bring them away from the pit area. Cities, 4 minutes and 40 seconds to the start of our Heat 2A. Coming off the top end of the race course here, Jamie Nielsen had their troubles yesterday. Most of them, we believe, were electrical related, similar to the problems they had at the Tri-City test session. They got them ironed out. The boat ran great. Jeff Haler, quick run down the front straightaway. Boat looks good.
Jamie Nielsen comes in here with 300 points. Brad, he's cutting through the infield right now. That is a legal maneuver on this race course in the race before the race. Jamie is second yesterday in 1B. Brad, all the boats have to be in a planing attitude during the milling period, 80 miles per hour. That is monitored by H1 Unlimited through GPS. You have to have your lane established prior to the entrance pin of turn number 2 to the left of us for 3 minutes and 45 seconds until the start. Your lane is not assigned to you, which we mentioned. Brad, this is what we call the race before the race. This is where the games begin.
They really do begin right now, and Jeff and I were talking prior to this. J. Michael Kelly is a master at getting the inside lane. We have seen him and Jimmy Shane go at this so many times in the past, where J. Michael Kelly has been able to steal lane 1 by cutting the course at the last minute legally. Speaking of Jimmy Shane with 3 minutes and 15 seconds, speaking of Jimmy Shane, here he comes across start-finish line, and the Goodman Real Estate presents his home street. It is Heat 2A, presented by the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA. Our boats are spread apart on the race course. I don't think we're going to see the bucket list racing out here. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to the start, Jeff. That means the 440's got less than 2 minutes to get out here.
Every boat has to be in a planing attitude prior to the 1 minute period. If you're not in a planing attitude, then you're illegal starter. Still waiting for the bucket list to leave the dock. Brad, we're approaching 240. 3 boats up and running. Well-matched field here. Weather conditions ideal. Water conditions perfect. Day number 2 of the Southern Cup.
Let's go racing. We're going to do it. Heat 2A, presented by the TVA. Kelly, right in front of us here, comes across the start-finish line hard and then hangs it on the hook. That's what we call it. Now, keep an eye on Kelly with, what's the time? 2 minutes and 19 seconds. I don't think he can cut the course now. He could legally, but from a timing standpoint, I'm not sure that would work. You see, Jamie Nielsen just did. He cut the. Here comes Kelly. Kelly's going to come across. He's going to try and get inside Jimmy Shane, who's coming off the top end of the race course. Legal maneuver by both Jamie Nielsen and J. Michael Kelly. Now we'll see how Kelly and Nielsen want to play it going down toward the causeway. Still a minute 50 seconds until our start. They actually are a little bit early. Jamie Nielsen is a tad early, and remember, he can't go below 80 miles an hour. They'll have to go through tech inspection to find out if he really did, but he knows that. He can still make a legal start from there, but he's close. He's close. My timing marks, Jeff, you usually don't want to be at the start-finish line in 2 minutes. He was close. So Nielsen comes slowly off the lower corner down there. Kelly is in great shape, and you know Jimmy Shane behind everybody. He's in perfect shape. He can put his foot in it at any time and come up and join the other 2 boats. Now Nielsen has all of a sudden started to go. He knows he's too early. He can't cut the course down here at the lower end. He's got to go to the top end. So he put his foot in it. He's coming across the race course now. He's going to have to jump in behind. Watch him cut the course again. 1 minute. 1 minute. Now watch Nielsen go. Go, Jamie. Hang it. Here he goes. Nielsen will cut the course. He was too early. He was going to get up to the top end before he wanted to be there and to be legal behind the start-finish line. He determined that he was going to have to drop below 80 miles an hour. A third place, last place finish was better than a disqualification. He made the right choice. 35 seconds until our start. Top end of the race course, and Kelly's early up there at 30 seconds now. You gotta like where Bernard sits. See if Kelly doesn't go wide to scruff off a bunch of speed. Now, Jimmy Shane, Jamie Nielsen, top end of the race course. Kelly's going to come down here on an inside lane, but he's lacking boat speed. That's the other piece to the puzzle. Got to be on time. Got to have clean water. You got to have seconds. 2, 1, mark, and we are racing in our Heat 2A, presented by the Tennessee Valley Authority. First across the line was J. Michael Kelly, but he didn't have much speed. He got gobbled up very, very good by the other two. Look for Jimmy Shane. Now on the outside is Jamie Nielsen, but you've got all three of them down there in the corner. Great sight. The start was legal. Everybody was legal. Now it's time to just accelerate off the corner. Look at Jamie Nielsen on the outside. And here comes Kelly. And here comes Shane. Yes, Jeff Baylor, this is a triple-decker. Up the backstretch, they are side by side by side. You could put a blanket across all three of them. Kelly with the late position on the inside. Got a little bit of a lead. Look at Nielsen at the 11. Oh, they got to give him room in there, and they did. Good luck off the top end of the race course. Kelly in 1, Shane in 2, Nielsen on the outside. Coming down to put one in the books, the first of 3. It is Kelly and Jimmy Shane. Kelly by a boat length. Jeff Baylor, this is dynamite racing in our Heat 2A.
Excellent dueling into turn number 1. Kelly to the inside, shorter way around. Shane to the outside, Nielsen back. There is Kelly at the apex, but Brad Shane is hidden in the tail.
Shane is there. He's on the outside. You still got 3 boats sharing the same rooster tail, but it is J. Michael Kelly up the backstretch in that Miss Tri-Cities, the U8. Look at him rock and roll. Shane doesn't want to let him go. Gonna hang with him on the outside. They are 3/4 of the way up the backstretch now. Kelly will set it up for the top end of the race course. Nielsen begins to drop back just a little bit. This is becoming a 2-boat affair out front, and it's rapidly becoming a J. Michael Kelly affair. Kelly, lane 1 on the inside, negotiates the top end of the race course. He will come down, look to the right. He will see the green flag. He will come down and put it in the books. It is lap number 2. Here he comes, J. Michael Kelly opened up. He has opened up a full rooster tail. They've got a green flag up, but they have just changed it to a white flag. White flag, 1 lap to go, Jeff.
Each boat accepted the white flag last time around for all 3 participants. Brad Dynamite dueling after 1 lap, and Kelly gained superiority in that turn the last time around. I think Shane will let him go, settle for those 300 points.
300 points are big, and yes, I think he will now. I think he thinks the shouting is over in this one. Jimmy Shane on the outside. He's tipping his head in there going, all right, if I'm going to run with this JMK guy, I may have to be on the inside of him because Kelly has been dominant here in Heat 2A, presented by the TVA. Top end of the race course. Here comes Kelly. All he's got to do is negotiate the exit pin, slides out to about lane 2, and it'll be J. Michael Kelly. He will come down, look to the right, see the checkered flag, and 400 points to Daryl and Vanessa Strong's U8, the Miss Tri-Cities, J. Michael Kelly. Jimmy Shane will come home in second place driving. The Goodman Real Estate presents the home street. And Jeff, from my way of thinking, maybe the surprise in that heat is right here with Jamie Nielsen. They ran well.
Jamie Nielsen done a wonderful job. He was just a little bit off on his timing marks, but I think the speed is on the upswing for the number 11 J&Ds. But race fans, how'd you like that after 1 lap? We had a triple-decker on the back chute and on the front chute.
Yes, we did, and you got the Ayler growl one more time. Got to mix that in. I'll tell you what, Jeff Ayler, coming off that lower corner on lap 1, with Jamie Nielsen on the outside was our leader. Shane in lane 2 was in second. Kelly was back. You could see all 3 boats coming out of there, and they just tightened up all the way down the back chute. That was awesome.
It was fun how it determined out. Kelly was a little bit back, and then Shane had a beautiful start. All 3 had a great start, but what a beautiful sight. I can't wait to see the still photographs after that one in turn number 1. But Brad, the boats will go back. They will go through tech inspection. Also with the fuel flow, the N2, and our new rule this year, the GPS monitoring with the 80-mile-per-hour rule in the warm-up period.
We'll get that confirmation and information as soon as we can. We are working very closely with the H1 officials. But, I'll tell you what, that was a good start for the day. I get all excited. We probably should go listen to some music, but doggone it, that was fun. I want to do that again. Put some more fuel in them. Let's go.
Great call. We'll do it again at 11:30 with Unlimited 2B. We've got Andrew Tate, presented by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Dave Milwaukee in there, and Corey Peabody, the story of yesterday. Will he be the story today? Especially at 4 o'clock for the Southern Cup.
Now, we were talking earlier that on paper again, maybe our Heat 2 meter is the one to watch. 2 2A wasn't half bad. I'll take another one of those. That was fun. All right, race fans. Deep breath. We got another heat in the books, and it was fun. It's
That Mike. Nice job, Mike. All right. Yeah, I'm right behind you. Mike's on the boat. Oh, here's the new star of the boat, though. Actually, it's Carson out here.
Dad!
Sorry, I thought I was going to go over.
Dad?
Yeah, we got to make sure I was good. Yep. He's got Mike right here. Always get a
You
hug.
didn't go below 80, did you?
It's choppy. Are you on Wi-Fi?
No.
No, she said.
I opened this one.
Okay, it's better now.
Here.
I thought you were Dad, you look like this in the first video.
That's okay, man.
The pictures are first thing today.
Here with J. Michael Kelly, winner of Heat 2A pending tech inspection. Mike, it was really tight going into the first lap. What did you see out there?
It was, we were up there a little earlier than we had planned, but it was kind of one of those deals where it was like, it is what it is. And, I didn't get a real strong run at the start, but I'll tell you what, this Miss Tri-City Strong Racing U8, it's got some ponies in it. It had some good top end. And, when we went down that first turn, I hadn't stuck it on the inside of anybody, out there racing yet. And she held right in there, and my boat ride was excellent. I think, I'm excited about it. It's a new boat ride. Just gonna, the more seat time I get in it, the faster it's gonna get. The more I'm gonna gel with the boat. Got amazing crew. Got to thank Daryl and Vanessa Strong just for the opportunity, and it's just a blessing to be here racing in front of a big group of fans, and be here racing with my family, my wife. With everything we've gone through, so it means a lot to be here and walk away with the heat win.
We have a question from fan Quinn. He wants to know how good it feels to be back in the boat after taking so long off.
Oh man, I'm a racer, along with all these other guys up and down the shoreline, whether you're a crew guy or even a fan, and not to be able to get out there behind the wheel or see these boats out there is tough on everybody, but man, just to get back out there and that rush, and it's amazing. It's a great feeling. It's good to be back. I love this sport, and things are starting to feel normal again, which I'm super excited about.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's hope they can get it out and make a run. Meanwhile, check the clock. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Jamie Nielsen cut the race course, got himself on the backstretch in front of Jeff Bernard. So we're just having a real slow roll here at 2:30 for the start. Nothing fancy right yet. Jeff's been pretty quiet, but then we've only got two boats there.
Situation as in 2B, everybody needs to be well behaved right now. Drive your race, drive a clean race. This is the final preliminary section of the weekend. Get those points, get ready for the Southern Cup final. You do not need to make a mistake here, as we saw back in 2B with Corey Peabody. Brad Luce, we're approaching the 2-minute period. 2 minutes away.
2 minutes to the start of our Heat 3A, presented by the Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce. It's the 2021 Lake Guntersville Hydrofest, the race for the Southern Cup. Coming up on 1:45 until our start. 1:45 to the start. So watch for Jamie to go all the way down to the lower end of the race course. Watch for Jeff to go down there behind him. I like where Jamie sits this time a whole lot better than I did last time, although he's still a little bit early, I think, Jeff. My timing mark on this race course, and it's totally unofficial. I always say you don't want to be at that entrance pin at $1.30, and he was down there about 120, 121. So we got 113 this time. If Jamie can hold it above 80 miles an hour, he was very close in that previous heat. They really had to look at the data, but he was legal, so I think he'll be okay this time. But if he wants it, I think he can secure lane one. Jeff, will he do it with that boat? He hasn't spent much time in it.
I think it's an ideal situation right now, Brad. The 1 minute period is come and gone. Vilwalk again. An unfortunate did not start. We're down to 2. Jamie Nielsen and Jeff Bernard, 45 seconds away. Mr. Luce, bring him to the green flag.
Thank you very much, Jeff Ayler. Now keep an eye on that black and gold boat. Now you see the pedals start to go down. Look for Jeff to really try and run this thing hard to the start-finish line. Look at the speed with the 1 versus the speed at the 11. We've still got a lot of real estate to cover, and we've still got 25 seconds. It's only about a 12-second run off that exit pin down to the start-finish line. My watch says 16. So they may have to hold it back a little bit, and you see the drivers having to pull back a little bit. When are they going to put their foot in it? We're inside 10, coming up on 8. Now they start to accelerate to the line. We are 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2, 1, mark! And we are racing in Heat 3A, presented by Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce. It's a good start. They were close. Those were probably the 2 best starts of the weekend. On the outside is Bernard, inside Nielsen. Nielsen stows his nose first. Where is Jeff? There he is on the outside, the home street. Goodman Real Estate presents the Miss Home Street. But look at Jamie Nielsen run right with him. Nielsen on the inside, Bernard on the outside. Good deck-to-deck boat racing up the backstretch. Now, the rules say that Jeff Bernard cannot move to the left and take lane 1 unless he has 7 boat lengths on Jamie Nielsen. Clearly, he doesn't have it. Nielsen's right there a boat length back. So Jeff Bernard's got to get him 30 feet of lane space. He does, driving him clean, as we like to say. Now it's acceleration off the corner, trying to come down to put the first of 3 laps in the book. Jeff Bernard on the outside. Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street, but he's only got about 3 boat lengths. Really good racing, Jeff. He's got about 3 boat lengths on.
Picture perfect dueling as they go into turn number 1, working the second time here in the Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce Unlimited 3A. Bernard is there, but Brad Nielsen shorter way around. Will he tighten it up?
Boy, Nielsen is just not going to go away. He's in that left side rear view. Oh, he picked up the right sponson. He really flew it. Jamie Nielsen, but he settled it back down. He is trying to run down Jeff Bernard. We were talking to Jimmy Shane over here about 10 minutes ago, and he said the boat's a rocket. When he's talking about the boat, he's talking about the home street, which means Jamie Nielsen's got a rocket by the tail as well. Top end of the race course. Not much has changed here. It's about 2 boat lengths. Bernard drives him clean, gives him plenty of room. Off the corner, they will come down. They'll find a white flag. There's 1 to go. Jeff Bernard. This looks like the last lap, Jeff.
2 complete, 1 to go. An Unlimited 3A brought to you by the Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce. Bernard in front as they work into turn number 1. But Brad Nielsen's there. Will he close?
He's going to have to use that inside lane to his advantage and tighten. And look at, there he is again. Nielsen is just not going to go away. He's back about 4 boat lengths as they get to the exit pin of turn 1. This is the 3rd of 3 times around the course. Jamie Nielsen hanging right with the Miss Home Street. Great racing here. We only had 2 boats in the heat, but let me tell you, they're putting on a great show as these guys are approaching probably 175, 185 miles an hour, right about there at the top end of the chute. Nielsen closes it up a little bit. Nielsen right there. He's back by a boat length or 2. Off the corner, going to be Nielsen and Bernard. Jamie's got some extra beans this time. This is going to be close. I think it's going to be Bernard. It is going to be Jeff Bernard by about a boat length and a half. Holy smoke. Jamie Nielsen really showed us something there. Jamie closed to that last corner.
Boy, the U11 J&Ds with Jamie Nielsen, you see cutting into the infield. Let's hope there's not a problem with the 11. But fans at Lake Guntersville, how'd you like that deck-to-deck dueling?
I think they like it, Jeff. That's good stuff. I know I did.
Me too.
That is. Oh, and Jamie has dropped down. Jamie has dropped down right after they crossed start-finish line. He immediately hung it on the hook, turned it left to try and get it back quickly to the pit area. Again, let's hope it's not something troublesome. Ready to go. Despite what happened, and there was some damage to that boat, not just to the air scoop, but also to the front canard wing. There was some damage, no problem. They've got it taken care of. 5 minutes, 35 seconds, 5:35 until the start. One thing we need to mention, we've been talking about how you can tell the U8 and differentiate it from the U9. The difference has been there's been a white cowling, which is the big air scoop just above and behind the canopy, a white cowling and air scoop on the U8. It was silver on the U9. Well, that one was damaged. The only one they have as a spare is white. So they're both going to be white out here, but we'll help you keep them straight. Coming up on 5 minutes, mark. 5 minutes, 1, 2, 3. We got 3 boats on my sheet of paper here. We got 3 rooster tails coming across. Jeff, you ready to go? This should be fun.
Brad, it should be fun. 1 point as all 3 come out. Andrew Tate has scored this weekend, but Brad, I don't think it's Andrew's caliper we've seen the first 2 heats of the weekend. I think he'd like to get a good start here, see how that Graham Trucking handles turn number 1 at full throttle in top competition. I think Andrew would like a good show here.
I think he would too, and you just said a very good point there. He's going to do it in good competition. It's an opportunity for him to go out there and measure himself against these guys. And these guys are the strong boats of the weekend in more ways than one. Daryl and Vanessa Strong owning the 2 boats. But they have been very, very strong this weekend. Top 2 qualifiers are sitting on the top in points right now. 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 5 seconds until our start. There is J. Michael Kelly's boat. That is the U8, the Miss Tri-Cities. Coming down the straightaway here, this is Andrew Tate. Driving the predominantly red, trimmed in black and silver, the Graham Trucking. Kelly cuts the course to the back. And now you see the white cowling. The white cowling on the deck of the U9 of Corey Peabody. To Jeff Ayler's point, Corey Peabody had that issue in the last heat. He wants to go out here, run clean, run strong, but make sure he finishes. 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 3:30. Here comes JMK with a legal maneuver across the race course here from back to front. 3:20 until the start. J. Michael Kelly will now cruise slowly down the front straightaway. He'll pick up some timing marks that his radio man will tell him you need to be here at such time, and now you are there, do this, do that. It's all about timing runs. Look at this, gonna have a couple of boats get close together here. This could get a little bit tight. Watch it. Oh boy. There may be some conversations about that one. There are rules about how that has to get played, and I'm not sure those rules were in place right there. It's tough to see without being able to look from above and see the lane spacing. The boat that is on the race course has the right of way. We'll let the officials make that call. 2:30 and still until the start. J. Michael Kelly leads the parade up the backstretch. Andrew Tate running second place behind him, and here comes Corey Peabody up as we approach 2:20, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That was an interesting little maneuver there on the front straightaway, Jeff.
I've said it since 2B. No need to be aggressive. Don't make mistakes. All three drivers here are guaranteed.
Watch it again, Jeff. Here they come. Both of them are coming across again.
All three drivers guaranteed a spot up on the front row. And Brad, at the first Southern Cup, you saw an incident here on the front chute, similar to that, where two boats tangled, got some damage. This was not as close, but it was still a little bit frightening.
Yeah, it sure was. That is Corey Peabody, who's leading them down into the lower corner. Checking on the watch, 1:43. Oh, boy. That might be a little early, Corey. He's down there at 1:35. Corey Peabody at the entrance pin. Andrew Tate's behind him. Mike, what do you want to do? Mike says, I'll go all the way down to the lower end of the race course. We are inside a minute and a half, coming up on 1:20. 1:20 until the start. Remember, our boats cannot drop below 80 miles an hour once they are on the race course and running. So that would be recorded on the black boxes in the boat. That information would be found during tech inspection. Do not drop below 80 miles an hour. If you do, you can only do it once. Inside, 1 minute, Jeff, 55 seconds.
Brad, by my marks, Corey Peabody leading them up in turn number 2. He'll probably creep and crawl to the start-finish line. Andrew Tate, a little bit better start sequence, but look for J. Michael Kelly in the Miss Tri-Cities to come across at full song. Brad Luce, we're 38 seconds away. Bring him to the green flag.
Time to go race it here in Heat 3B, presented by the Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce. Corey is definitely early. How wide will he go? He will not. He's going to stay on that inside lane with 25 seconds until the start. But you notice the speed he does not have. Watch Kelly on the outside. That's the last boat up there. J. Michael Kelly was on the inside last time and slow. This time he's going to be on the outside with speed. We're inside 10 seconds. We are 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 seconds, 2, 1. Mark! J. Michael Kelly appears to have nailed the start. A carload of boat speed and right on the line. We'll make sure the start is official here. Waiting for the word from the officials. Look good to me, and look what a good start, and look what a lot of boat speed does for you. The start is under review. Start is under review. We will call them the way they are on the water, and the way they are in the water right now is J. Michael Kelly with a rooster tail over Andrew Tate, and it is Corey Peabody lacking behind everybody. Man, Kelly, if he was legal, Jeff, he just wired that start.
That was a smoking Bill Muncie start. Brad, we're getting unofficial word. Corey Peabody running in third could have a one-lap penalty for that lane infraction prior to the start cutting through the infield. But it's all JMK, but the start is under review.
Thank you very much, Jeff. He's monitoring the official radio. We'll get the official calls when we have it. But for J. Michael Kelly, it's 1 up. It is 1 down. It is 2 to go. Assuming he is legal. Andrew Tate flying at 12. He comes across to complete lap number 1. If that is indeed correct, what may have been the case with Corey Peabody, that might explain why he is not pushing things too hard here in this heat. Now up the backstretch on lap number 2. J. Michael Kelly, this thing's running like a rocket.
We did get official word. Corey Peabody, a one-lap penalty in Pinnacle Peak Consulting for the illegal maneuver in the milling period prior to the start.
Thank you very much, Jeff. So, it's just a 1-lap penalty. So he will simply have, and now we are being told the start is good. The start is good. So J. Michael Kelly nailed it. That was an incredible start for Mike. He had all the boat speed. He had it right on the line. So close, they had to review it. Kelly, your official leader in our Heat 3B, presented by the Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce. Andrew Tate comes across in the 12 to Graham Trucking. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what, Jeff and J. Michael Kelly would like to have that start around 4 o'clock this afternoon.
That's what you need at 4 o'clock this afternoon for the Southern Cup Final. Be at that start-finish line buoy at full song, full throttle without jumping. That could be key. Kelly really in front, followed by Tate and Peabody.
Peabody's going to be okay. He's going to pick up, if he continues to run, he'll pick up third place points. That's 225. He came in with 800. He'll be fine. He'll still be on the front row of the final. Remember, the points go out the window at that point. It is a winner-take-all final. But here comes our winner-take-all here in Heat 3B, presented by the Lake Guntersville Chamber of Commerce. Give it up for J. Michael Kelly, the driver of the U8, the Miss Tri-Cities. Kelly with a victory here in Heat 3B. Second place, Andrew Tate will come across in the 12. He will be comfortably transferred into the final heat. Good run for Andrew Tate. And then at the top end of the race course, they've got a checkered flag flying here, but I believe that should be a white flag. We will check it with the officials. So Corey will come across. We'll keep an eye on the flags, keep an eye on Corey. I don't think Corey will head back to the pit area. I think Corey's got to run one more lap here. I think he knows, and I think we had an issue there maybe with the flag. Corey's still running through the lower corner. He's not headed back across the lake. Corey Peabody, but again, Jeff, it's really not going to hurt him. He would have loved to have had a better showing, but he'll take those 225 points, put this heat out of his mind, get ready for a final.
He has a half a lap to go to get those 225 points. And Brad, we mentioned in the milling period, we've done it for 3 heats in a row. You don't want to make a mistake, and it seems to have a pattern here on this Sunday afternoon. But all 3 of these drivers will transfer up on the front row of the final with Jamie Nielsen and Jeff Bernard. Checkered flag out. Brad, bring Corey Peabody down to score those 225.
Here he comes, Corey Peabody, top qualifier for the weekend. Had a great day yesterday with a first place finish after that top run, qualifying run. He's had some issues the last couple of times, but you know what? Erase him. He's on the front row for the final. Corey Peabody driving the 9. Pinnacle Peak Consulting Group out of the Tri-Cities area.
Award ceremony. You better be there because there's some extra special goodies happening when the big trophy is awarded.
Yeah, there is going to be some extra special activity when they give the big trophy away, and immediately, if not sooner, following the award ceremony, we are going to have, believe it or not, Jeff, a little different time for this. We're going to have our H1 Unlimited Drivers Autograph Session. I am told our H1 drivers will stand there and sit there, and they will sign autographs as long as somebody wants to come through that line. I'm telling you what, kids, talk to mom and dad, say, come on, take me down to that award stand. I want to get someone's autograph. PR 534. It's time to go racing. We got to turn around. We probably got boats coming across now, Mr. Rayler. And we do. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boats already away from the dock. Straight at us. We had some speed coming right to us. That was Andrew Tate. He just flew straight across the lake and cut the course. But We've been talking all weekend that you can cut the race course from back to front at the top end of the race course, and that cut was at the bottom end of the race course. We will monitor the radio, and we will just pretend that that was perfectly legal, but that didn't look all that kosher right there, Jeff Baylor.
Under review. 4:15 away. Brad ID the boats as they come across the start-finish line the first time. Thank you, Brad. First boat by the start line. Here is the 9. That is the Pinnacle Peak Consult. No, I'm sorry. That's the Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. Jeff Bernard, and here's Vilwalk out here. Brad in the Beacon Plumbing. Second boat to first turn number 1, followed by J. Michael Kelly in the Miss Tri-Cities cutting through the race course. There is the 9, Pinnacle Peak Consulting. Corey Peabody, our top qualifier. Next boat by the Chartreuse and Royal Blue. J&D's with Jamie Nielsen. In our boat, we're trying to find out if a penalty was called in the warm-up period in Andrew Tate and Graham Trucking.
And I have an official. We have a change. Andrew Tate has been disqualified. That maneuver coming across the race course, we've said it all weekend long. If you're going to cut the course from back to front, like we're seeing right here up the left, it has to be at the top end of the race course. He cut the race course and came across back to front. At the bottom half, that's a disqualification. That's a tough break right there.
Tough break, Brad. We're 3 minutes away, and hopefully the officials, and it appears that Andrew has gotten word he is slowed, and he will go back to the pit dock. So we'll have a 4-boat front row for the final with Vilwalk trailing. Brad, shocked by that maneuver, he blistered across Lake Gunnersville in an illegal spot, 2:45 away. Now 2:40.
It would have been a good move, and it would have been legal. He just needed to come across the course above the start-finish line. There is Dave Vilwalk coming across in the U40, the Beacon Plumbing. The boat has not competed in a heat of competition all day. There goes Dave, and in his signature move, cutting the race course. Here comes the U9. Corey Peabody comes across in the Pinnacle Peak Consulting boat out of the Tri-Cities. He, too, will cut the race course from the front straightaway to the back. Coming up on 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 8 seconds. I like where these guys are now. You don't really, by my unofficial calculations, Chef, you don't want to be at the start-finish line in 2 minutes. We are inside 2 minutes right now. It is Jamie Nielsen right now sitting in lane number 1. And he crosses start-finish line with 150 right behind him. And on his outside, Jeff Bernard in the Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. Then it is J. Michael Kelly, who will come down at 137 and cross the start-finish line. Here comes Corey Peabody, his teammate. Jeff, if they're going to go all the way down, which it looks like Jamie Nielsen is going to sit in lane 1, number 1.
This could be a story right here in the Southern Cup in the milling period. Your lane is not assigned to you when you leave the pit area. Lane has to be established to the left-hand side of us prior to the entrance pin at turn number 2. Brad, we're 110 away. Just a touch early, I believe, for Nielsen and Bernard, but Bernard, no doubt, better positioning.
Yeah, Bernard's in a better spot. I'm worried again about Nielsen. He was very close to getting an 80-mile-an-hour penalty during the prelims for one of the previous heats, but he was legal. But he's still got 52 seconds to kill. Bernard's got a bunch of it as well. Then it is J. Michael Kelly and Corey Peabody. They're the 3rd and 4th boats going up the backstretch. It is Peabody, I believe, on the outside. JMK will be in lane number 3. Nielsen in 1. Bernard in 2. It is Kelly in 3. Peabody in 4, 30 seconds to the start. Jeff hits about a 12-second run off the top end of the race course. We're at 26.
Nielsen, Bernard, super early. Watch for J. Michael Kelly, the 3rd boat in the sequence. Could have the best start of all. Brad, bring him to the green flag for the Southern Cup.
15 seconds to go. Kelly did this in his previous heat. He brought a carload of boat speed to the line. Can he do it again? We are inside 10 seconds. We are down to 5 seconds. We're 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. And across the start-finish line, that start is too close to call. It was Jamie Nielsen on the line with Bernard with him. Tell you what, Jeff Bernard's got a lot of boat speed. The start is under review, and it is Jeff Bernard. He's going to get out of there first. He carried a lot of boat speed down there, but he's got Kelly with him on the outside, and he's got Peabody
Bernard in front. He will be one of the starters under review. Start under review. Bernard and Nielsen, the first two across. Bernard in front. Kelly's there. Brad into turn 2.
Yeah, we saw these two hook up earlier, and it was Kelly on the inside, and there's Kelly on the outside. Kelly is now pulled up alongside Jeff Bernard in the Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. Remember, fans, we go 5 times around. They're going to be dead even at the end of lap number 1. Kelly by 1 boat length. J. Michael Kelly has gotten past Jeff Bernard. He beat him on the inside last time, Jeff, but this time he's actually trying to drive around him on the outside. So far, so good.
Kelly needs to drive clean in turn number 1. Now you see gaining superiority as Bernard has dropped back. Kelly in front. Bernard in second. Peabody in third. Vilwalk has moved to fourth. Nielsen in fifth. Brad 1.5 in. 3.5 to go in the Southern Cup.
Up the backstretch, it's a full rooster tail lead for J. Michael Kelly driving the U8, the Miss Tri-Cities. And you are right, he has opened up a full rooster tail on Jeff Bernard. But now Bernard's got to keep his eye on that right side rear view here. As Corey Peabody is starting to move up on the outside of Jeff. It is J. Michael Kelly at the top end of the race course. Watch him drive this clean. He'll slide way out of there, leave plenty of room for his good buddy Jeff Bernard. And you saw Peabody up there slide out wide. 3 boats coming down the front straightaway, going to put 2 in the books with 3 to go. J. Michael Kelly showing some incredible speed. Look at Corey Peabody.
2 complete, 3 to go. Kelly in front. Deck to deck racing for second. Bernard on the inside, and Goodman Real Estate presents Miss Home Street. Peabody on the outside, and Pinnacle Peak Consulting. Kelly in front. Bernard with the advantage of the inside, but Brad Peabody's got some horsepower on the outside wake.
And the race is back there for second position. Remember, the start is under review, and the 2 boats that were involved in it are the 11 and the 1. As Corey Peabody goes past Jeff Bernard. I'm going to hand it over to you, Jeff. I'm going to check on that review.
We're past the halfway mark of the 2021 Southern Cup here at the Lake Guntersville Hydrofest. J. Michael Kelly clearly in front in the U8 Miss Tri-Cities. The boat running physically in third. Brad, is there a penalty?
Nope, there's 2 penalties. The 1 and the 11 both jumped the start. So Jeff Bernard already has that information. That is why Jeff has pulled his foot, I am sure. So he is now running behind the pack. 3 in the books with 2 to go. And man, oh man, Darrell Strong, you're running 1-2 in the Southern Cup.
So your official order right now after lap number 3, J. Michael in first, Corey Peabody in second, Dave Vilwalk is vaulted to third, and Miss Beacon Plumbing, Jeff Bernard in fourth, Jamie Nielsen trails it, Brad, we're 3.5 in, 1.5 laps to go in the Southern Cup.
J. Michael Kelly halfway up the backstretch on lap number 4. Cruises into the upper corner. Our boats have now spread out. Jeff Bernard definitely has got the word. He knows that he has jumped the start, and therefore he will have to run an extra lap. They will come down and complete lap number 4. The white flag is flying. That means 1 more to go for J. Michael Kelly. Darrell and Vanessa Strong, the 2 boats they purchased in the offseason, are sitting here number 1 and 2. White flag, Kelly, 1 to go. Here comes teammate Corey Peabody. This is going to be a big story, Jeff, with this new race team. Top 2 qualifiers, first and second in the first heat, if they finish 1-2 in the final.
Boys, smiles are big with owners Darrell and Vanessa Strong, their first ever race in H1 Unlimited. As owners, Kelly slowed momentarily, hit a roller. Brad, 1/2 a lap to go in the Southern Cup. J. Michael Kelly in front.
J. Michael Kelly driving for Darrell and Vanessa Strong, driving a boat sponsored by the business organizations of the Tri-City metropolitan area in the state of Washington and the Pacific Northwest. If he can negotiate this upper corner and bring it down to the checkered flag, he will claim a Southern Cup victory. And if he looks in the rearview mirrors, he's going to find his grade school classmate, his longtime good friend Corey Peabody, and teammate will come home in second. It is J. Michael Kelly, winner of the 2021 Southern Cup at the Lake Guntersville Hydrofest. Second place to Corey Peabody. There is a checkered flag flying, but they're going to pull it down and put a white up for Jeff because Jeff's got to run another lap because he jumped the start. Our third place bull will come down, and boy, this is a surprise. Dave Vilwalk He scored 70 points in qualifying only. Qualified as the trailer boat. He picks up a check like that's a podium finish.
Brad, a Herculean effort by Kelly and Sharon Stockland, that race team, Dan Walters, Taylor Evans, Dustin Eccles, the whole group. Thank you for getting the boat in the Southern Cup final. You come away with a podium finish in third. And Brad, bring our fourth and fifth place finishers to the checker.
All right, I will do that. Jamie Nielsen comes across. He, too, was part of the duo of boats who jumped the start. We talked about it all weekend. You got to have boat speed. You got to have clean water, but you got to be legal. You can ruin your race for the Southern Cup in the event that you jump the start and have to run an extra lap. That's what Jamie Nielsen is going to have to do to come home in fifth place. Here comes Dave Villwalk. Dave Villwalk is going to go from the trailer position to standing on the podium. He will be, that is Bernard coming by. He finishes, excuse me. Tough to pick him out of that sun. That was Chip Bernard. He will come home in fourth place. Jamie Nielsen did not run his lap. Not quite sure about Jamie Nielsen there. He did not run his extra lap. We were told that the two of them had jumped. He's got to run an extra lap. By my way of thinking, Jeff Baylor, that would show up as a DNF.
Exactly, Brad. And boy, what a great Southern Cup final drama in the milling period. Andrew Tate on the screen across Lake Gunnersville. An illegal maneuver, an automatic DQ. You could tell that Jamie Nielsen and Jeff Bernard were a little bit off on their timing runs, and they both got gun jumps. J. Michael Kelly was on his game in the third section in the winner takeoff final. Dynamite starts, and Brad, we've said it many times, great start, that's key to victory. He showed him here.
Seattle would strike the mother lode of boating gold. The slow-mo started it, but others quickly followed, turning sleepy Lake Washington into Hydroplane's version of the Indy 500.
The final quickly turns into a two-boat race between the Shanty and Slow Motion 4.
The Thriftway, Hawaii Kai, and Bardol would lead a group of boats that would become legendary and would keep Seattle and Seafair at the forefront of the boating motorsports world. Now, 60 years after Stan Sayers brought hydro racing to Seattle, the boats look more like something from Star Wars, and most sport jet turbine engines instead of piston power. They glide through the water, barely touching the surface, and then there were those times they actually try and take flight, which is never a good idea. This is Seafair. This is the Hydro World Series and Super Bowl combined. And it's where the drivers all dream to be.
My first race in 1994 as a driver was and managed to win it. So it was a special time to be able to do something that everybody thought was impossible, but made it possible.
I finally got my opportunity in '04 to race at Seafair, and it was a dream come true.
I had heard about Seattle before, but had no idea really what it was and what Seafair in the bigger picture was. And you realize it was, just a huge event.
And I can remember sitting in the water, getting strapped in, and looking out across the lagoon at the people on the beach, and it suddenly hit me, I'm going to drive a race boat at Seafair.
Today, there will be lots of race boats churning up the Lake Washington waters. The original boys of summer are back in town, which means it must be time to go racing at Seafair.
In high definition, this is the Budweiser Startup Show. Brought to you by Budweiser, the Great American Lager, by Beacon Plumbing. Stop freaking, call Beacon at 1-800-FREAKIN. And by Comcast and the new HD Triple Play with free HD, faster internet, and unlimited calling. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Call it the calm before the storm. This is about as calm as it'll be today on Lake Washington. By 3 p.m., you could probably walk the entire log boom without getting wet because there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of boaters on the lake. There will also be families by the score lining the shoreline, getting their favorite spot to watch the action. And there will be lots of action. You're going to see 14 boat races and more than a half dozen air show acts on the 60th Seafair Sunday, right here on KIRO 7. Good morning to you. I'm Angela Russell.
I'm Steve Rabel, and we are sitting high atop the pits here along the shores of Lake Washington. There's our little perch, and we will be with you for a long time today. Welcome to our Budweiser Startup Show. It is a great morning out here, already starting to warm up. You ready?
I'm ready.
We're all ready. We will be with you here on KIRO 7 for at least 8 hours of live coverage, live continuous coverage throughout the day of the air show, the boat races. This is the 60th Seafair celebration, and we are very lucky, as always, to celebrate this beginning of our day of coverage with our good friend Chip Hanauer. Been a decade with us here in the broadcast booth. It's always great to have him along with us.
He's the man.
He is. He really is.
Check your facts. It can't be a decade. Something's wrong here.
Oh, my goodness. Well, the facts are we did have 6 races yesterday. We got 8 going on today. What are your thoughts?
Well, hopefully we can see some tape of these two combatants because we've got Dave Vilwalk in the Elstrom boat, and he is a aggressive guy. He's going to try and slit your throat every time he goes out there in the boat. And then there's you're looking at Dave Vilwalk there. That's the bright orange boat. You're going to want to watch him all day. And then the guy just to the inside, there you go. That's the Alberta boat, and that's driven by Steve David, and he's more of a play the percentages kind of guy. He tries to get what the boat will get and hope that the other guys make a mistake. That worked perfectly for him last week in Tri-Cities, and he won.
Okay. And, we were talking about Jean Theoret, who had to pull out of the race because, that crash he had, the horrible crash. And he said he was mentally ready, but not physically. What goes on inside the boat that's so difficult that you got to have so much stamina?
Well, Angela, I think people think, right, when they see the boats gliding over the water, it looks so effortless, and they think it's like driving their car, but it's actually like going over Niagara Falls in a 55-gallon steel drum with somebody beating on it with a lead pipe. It's really violent, in a word.
That's
that's why we have him up here for those kinds of descriptions.
Right.
Go over that barrel, over those falls in this kind of heat. What does this mean for the racers and their machines today?
Well, it's a good question because these engines actually start losing power after about 86 degrees. So the team that can maintain the most amount of power in the heat, losing the least amount of power, is going to have an advantage. I think that goes to the Elstrom team because they've got some really sharp technicians there.
And you guys, the drivers?
The drivers, when you're in the boat, you're so focused and you're so thinking about what you're doing, you don't feel anything. You're virtually numb. But the minute you get out, you're sweating.
You making any predictions?
Well, I would like to see a dark horse come out. We keep focusing on the Elstrom boat and the Alberta boat, but there's some young guys. Jeff Bernard in the Formula boat, he could mix it up.
Okay.
Chip Hanauer, as always, and he will be with us for the entire 8 hours today. So, Chip, thank you for all that. We'll talk to you in just a bit. By the way, while you are barbecuing and having a great time out there today, here's what you're going to see between your hot dogs and your hamburgers and your lemonades. You're watching the Budweiser Startup Show, which begins 8 hours, as we said, of coverage that includes 14 races. The opening ceremonies of the Chevy Cup begin at 10 o'clock this morning, and then shortly after that, we will show you unlimited heats 1A and 1B. Now, the first live racing is set for 10:40. That's unlimited heat 2A.
Covering the boats in the pits all day, and right now he's with one of the teams that Mike just mentioned, the U16 Elstrom Elam Plus.
Hey, Gard.
Hey, what's up, guys? You guys are talking about sleepers, who can maybe get in there, top 3 boats, who's the boat to beat? It's this guy right here. It seems like every year, Dave Villwalk and the Miss Elam Plus. And what's up with you guys? You guys are so dominant here all the time. I know it has to do with you, it has to do with your crew, and here we are, another final Sunday.
Well, we've had hot and cold days here. Last year we really made a lot of changes to our setup, and it's helped us. And we brought those forward into this year and immediately changed the boat to that again. So, I think boat ride, we're in pretty good shape. We can run fast from the outside, and that's going to be important. And early heats, water's going to be good. Later on, it's supposed to blow 15 to 20, so game's going to completely change this afternoon.
You got on the water this morning. I talked to one of your crew members. He said, hey, the steering's a little bit loose. He didn't like it so much. So you guys are tinkering with that right now.
Yeah, we're always just working on whatever little thing that we can see that is an imperfection. And so the steering just had a little bit of play, and it is fine really, but we're just looking at trying to prevent that problem.
You guys run really well yesterday. What's it like for a driver between Saturday night and Sunday morning? Can you get sleep? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I slept well. We went out, we had a great party out at the Elstrom house and brought a lot of people out there, and had a good relaxing time out on the lawn, and got a good night's sleep and set up for a good race day. We didn't have all the problems we had last week, so easier to get focused.
You and I talked a little bit about strategy yesterday for a long time. Anything you want to share with us this morning? What you might be thinking, despite the wind that you had talked about maybe later this afternoon?
Yeah, well, we're just going to have to race hard. This format is not about the time before the start, it's about the time after the start, the actual race itself. So we raced well from the inside positions, and now we have to move to the outside positions. Again, we have to race well from there and get as many points as we can, and then hopefully get a pretty good position the next time and work our way towards a better lane position in the final. So we just got to keep working all day, keep working, and if we do a good job of that, then we should be there in the final.
Real quick, who are you worried about? What other boat?
Oh, there's 4 or 5 of them out here. The 3 boats fast.
Don't sandbag me. Come on, tell me who.
Yeah, Steve David's as fast as we are in the Alberto. So, and the 2, I've won this race in both the 5 and the 7 from Formula. So those boats are good, and the 37 can be a dark horse. So who knows?
Let's go racing.
Let's go racing. So that's why they make us race.
All right, Steve, Angela, back up to you guys.
That's great, Gard, holding his feet to the fire on those questions. Gard was mentioning the wind, and we always can tell when it starts to come in because papers go flying, but it's definitely starting to pick up a bit.
It's a blessing up here. Not so much for the water, but it's a blessing up here for us on the tower. When we come back, we are going to meet the inimitable one, Cairo 7 color commentator, the incomparable Pat O'Day.
Plus, one of the biggest stories here today will be the U37 team. Their primary driver is Jean Theoret, but it'll be backup driver J.W. Myers in the boat today. Our Jenny Hogan talks with him when we come back with more of the Budweiser Startup Show right here on Cairo 7.
They are already packing the log boom this morning. In fact, here on Lake Washington, there are so many boats. This was yesterday, there were so many boats. It looked like a Sunday, and there sure to be more today. Log boom, a very popular location during Seafair, and especially on a warm, sunny Seafair Sunday. Welcome back. We're getting closer to racing hydroplanes and closer to the air show, all of which is coming up here during this live broadcast. You know, no one has called more Seafair races here in Seattle than the inimitable one, Pat O'Day.
I think this is his 43rd consecutive year, either broadcasting Seafair on radio or television. But Pat, you remember the first Seafair. You know, this is the 60th anniversary. Can you take us back there for a minute?
Well,
Reminisce?
I do, Angela. It was at Green Lake in the Aqua Theater. It was much larger than if you've ever seen the grandstands out there. And they had an event called Aqua Follies with divers coming off of tall towers and synchronized swimmers. And then came the slow motions and unlimited hydroplane racing in 1951. And Seafair caught fire. And, well, here it is today, 60 years later, Angela.
Hey, Pat, you talking about racing, you've owned boats, you've had drivers working for you. What do you see out of these teams out here today? Who do you like?
I see such a high degree of professionalism and really a great competitive match between 5 of the boats are only 1 mile apart in qualifications. And, of course, we've got the Elam and the Oberto, but look out for Jeff Bernard. But then at the end of the day, who knows what will happen? We've had surprise after surprise year after year. That's what keeps the folks coming back and announcers like me just tingling with excitement.
And, Pat, who do you think was put at a disadvantage? Which driver was put at a disadvantage, you think, by the new rules, the start rules?
I think the disadvantage falls to Vilwalk because he's so skilled. He always found the right lane, and now it ain't necessarily his choice.
Pat, before we go, a thought about the celebration that is Seafair today. The parties along the shore, the families that you see, the parties at the homes up on the hill here. It really is a community-wide celebration, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and I'm so proud it has such legs. Seafair's done such a great job, and I mentioned last night on the show, I think we've arrived at an event that has perpetuity to it. I think 60 years from now, our grandchildren and their grandchildren will be able to come to these hallowed shores, enjoy Blue Angels, enjoy hydroplanes, enjoy the joy that is Seafair.
All right, Pat, thank you so much. We always enjoy your words of wisdom and that perspective he was able to give by talking about the first Seafair, Green Lake.
And we will hear from Pat much more during the course of the day.
That's right. Also in the pits today, getting all the inside info covering the teams, we've got our traffic reporter, Jenny Hogan.
Now, one of her assignments is going to be following the U-37, the Haas Mortgage Investors team. Jenny, the Schumachers are going to have a new driver in that boat today with J.W. Myers. Is he ready? Is he excited about his opportunity today?
Well, I'm standing right in the middle of Camp Myers, as you see. We've got JW next to me, and then his father, mother, sister, and grandma too. JW, are you ready for today?
Yeah, we ran the boat this morning. The boat ran really, really well. First time I got in the boat for the weekend was this morning, so we're very excited. The team's very excited to bring everybody on board. I wish the circumstances were different. Jean does a great job. He's a first-class guy. As I mentioned before, he got out of the boat yesterday, and he just knew that he couldn't give 150% that he always gives. So that part, that's not the way I wanted to get the job, but, I got his back.
Well, I heard that he actually was the one that handpicked you as the backup person.
That's a compliment. I take that. For the whole crew, unanimously chose me. So I've raced with these guys in the past, and they're nothing but the best.
And I noticed you had an engine change. Is that going to affect your racing today?
Actually, we just pulled one motor out of the truck and it's sitting on the ground here. We haven't changed it, but we got one that's ready to go. Just stay ahead of the curve, because it's later this afternoon is when everything counts in the final heat.
And you may be pulled out of obscurity for this race, but you're no stranger to hydroplane racing. I'm just going to introduce your dad here to everyone, Papa Myers. And when did you put J-Dub in a boat?
He was actually about 6 weeks old when he first got in a boat, and he started racing when he was 9, so he's had a long ways. He's 37 now, so he's been in a boat a long time.
Great. Well, what's it going to be like watching him out there?
No different than it has been in the past. It's probably safe for him being in that boat than when he got here this morning by car, so
So we'll all be cheering in that safe boat, and good luck tomorrow, J-Dub. Back to you, Steve and Angela.
6 weeks old, Jenny. Is he serious?
6 weeks old, I know. How did he do it 6 weeks?
I don't know.
Well, we actually just pushed him around the lake a little bit.
So he did pretty good.
Oh, my goodness, Jenny. All right, we'll talk to you later. You know, one of the fun things we get to do here is meet many of you. Cairo 7, we have a booth at Genesee Park, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Here is the list of the Cairo 7 anchors and reporters that you will be meeting today. They are our colleagues who bring you the news each and every night at Cairo 7. In fact, Angela is going to be at the booth at about 1:30. I'll introduce you to the lead pilot. He's the one they call Boss. You're watching the Budweiser Startup Show here on Cairo 7. We have waited all year for the big boys to get back out on the water. It's time to go Thunderboat racing with the Unlimited Hydroplanes Heat 1A. And here are the storylines. Can Jean Theoret forget the tragedy in Madison? Is he ready to race? How about that young gun, Jeff Bernard? Is he finally a veteran hand? We'll find out. And what about J. Michael Kelly? Is his boat patched up and ready after a blowover in the Tri-Cities? We'll get some answers coming up in Heat 1A.
Heat 1A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Papa Murphy's, thanking everyone in and around the Sound for making us #1. Handmade fresh, home-baked great. That's Papa Murphy's. And is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, the intermodal container solution.
And taking a look at the boats in Unlimited Heat 1A, there's Haas Mortgage Investors, Jean Theoret, Formula Boats, U.S. Northwest Express, the Red Dot Boat, Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly at the controls, MissAirbagService.com, that's Mike Webster, and the Leland Unlimited Mirage Boats. Greg Hopp jumps over from the Unlimited Lights. That's the Muckleshoot Casino lineup, and here is your course condition brought to you by Comcast. Temperature's gone up to 80 degrees. The boats are lined up. They are ready to go. How about a fastest qualifier, Patrick?
Jack in the Box congratulates the Formula Boats, and Jeff Bernard qualified at 149.005 miles an hour. And Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on their menu any time of day. Let's go.
They are in their lanes, getting ready to race. Let's go to the man, the voice of hydroplane racing, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Jean Theoret, first time racing since he had that near drowning experience at Madison, Indiana, will have the inside lane. Next to him, it's the Formula Boats, U.S. Northwest Express right outside of him. Graham Trucking in the 4 lane, the 5 lane, it's the Leland Unlimited and the U-22, the Airbag Services. We've got a good start here as they come roaring down. Theoret is lagged back already, and it looks like Kip Brown is going to try to lead him through in the lane 3. Mike, and down there we have Chip Hanauer.
Mike, I was a little surprised that Jean Theoret was as late at the line as he was, but going through that first corner, I think he's going to come out dead even with everybody, if not ahead.
He did get a slingshot effect there, and he now has a little nose lead, just a little bit of a lead. And there's a 4-boat side-by-side race going on here with both the 5 and the 7 boat right up there tucked inside. We've got a dandy battle going in to the upper corner now. Here's Kip Brown leaping through the upper turn in the U-17 boat, and right at the moment he's got Jean Theoret just inside of him, but also the FormulaBoats.com is moving up as well with Jeff Bernard. And at the start-finish line, the end of lap number 1, it's a photo finish. Paddle day.
It's a dead heat at 139 miles an hour. 132 for the Formula on the first time around.
Back through the lower corner now, Chip Hanauer, and it looks like Theoret's got himself to lead again.
Mike, I just want to emphasize the man you see leading this boat race, the last time he was in a race, he was brought to shore with rescue workers pumping his chest. Look at how well he's driving after that. It's amazing.
That was at Madison, Indiana, when he took several gulps of water and virtually drowned. But now he, and the question was, does he have the spirit to go after it? Looks like he certainly does. Whoa, a big hop in that upper corner there as he loses the skid fin for a moment and jumps aside about 10 or 15 feet. But Jeff Bernard is just not letting up. He's working up from the outside right now. Haas Mortgage Investors comes across the line down in lap number 2 in first place, just a couple boat lengths back. It's Jeff Bernard in the FormulaBoat.com.
Mike, I can't tell you how difficult that is to have that psychological memory of the horrible race he had, and he remembers basically signing off, saying, "I'm not going to survive this," when he took that second gulp of water. And look at him drive here. We've seen him do this a number of times in Seattle, and I tell you, it makes my heart, it really warms my heart to see him
And
doing
he
this.
isn't slowing down, Chip. He turned the second lap at 139.822 miles an hour.
Take a look at Jeff Bernard now. He is not going to let up. Okay, if this guy's come to race, Bernard says, never mind what happened in the past. I'm going to try to take him here in the upper corner, and he is really muscling that boat through the upper turn on the final time around. Jeff Bernard on the outside and Jean Theoret on the inside, and we're going to have a nose-to-nose drag race down to the start-finish line. Jeff Bernard's got a little more beans, it looks like, maybe a little more speed, and the FormulaBoats.com just by one boat length lead takes the victory here in Heat 1A.
That was a great boat race. That was youth and exuberance against a lot of maturity and, just an amazing amount of experience. So that was a good race. I think it's going to be an indication of what we're going to see all day long today.
So what does this tell us about Jean Theoret in terms of whether or not he's come to race? I think he has.
I think he has, and even though he's going to be a little upset that he didn't win that heat, I think you're going to see not only a happy Jean Theoret, I think you're going to see a really happy team and a lot of warm greetings when he gets back to the dock. Although his wife may not be so happy. I talked to them the other night, and he told me about the experience of almost dying, and he said, "But Chip, it was okay because I'm ready to go." And his wife said, "Well, frankly, I'm not ready for you to go."
Can't blame her, can you?
Well, the order of finish was Formula Boats, followed by Haas Mortgage and Jean Theoret, then Kip Brown, followed by number 7, J. Michael Kelly, and the other red boat, Graham Trucking, and finally Greg Hopp in the 100, Fred Leland Racing, and he toured the course at an average speed of 125 miles an hour.
So you're looking at the unofficial winner of Heat 1A, Jeff Bernard, in that former Budweiser boat. Let's head down to the pits and guard Swanson.
Thanks, Rage. And Jeff, man, first heat, and you come out flying. Talk about getting out of the gates quickly.
Yeah, we tried to nail the start there. Kip Brown, my brother-in-law, made an awesome start in lane 3. Left us plenty of room going into turn 1, and went up the backstretch. We were pulling both of them up. Well, we had the 37 already. Went into turn 2, and it was a little rough down there from when we were making a start. He made up a lot of ground, and then we went back down to turn 1 on the end of lap 1. Hit a huge roller, and man, they gave up about 4 boat lengths, and we just kept digging. And this is about the 4th weekend in a row we've struggled during qualifying, and every time we come out for the heat, come to heat racing, my team somehow puts it together. Couldn't do it without FormulaBoats.com, Graham Trucking, and all of our sponsorship, and last but not least, my crew. And this one's for Terry.
All right, good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thanks very much. Jenny Hogan is with Jean Theoret, and what must have been, Jenny, a bittersweet moment to get back into that boat.
Steve, yeah, we just got him out of the boat here, and Jean, a bittersweet moment to get back in the boat.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really rough out there. We got a bit late at the start, and we finished second place, but it's good for the Haas Mortgage Company, and the American family. And this whole team does a fantastic job. They work so hard, so thank God for the second place.
And how about you? How was it to get back in that boat?
It was pretty good, but I'm tired now. I missed a bit of stamina, but I'm tired, and we just got to get that boat to calm down a bit and go faster.
And I know you don't see what's happening on the sidelines, but we have Jane, the co-owner here, Jane Schumacher, and just tell me about watching him out there.
It's always very nerve-wracking for me, and there was the wind that was up, so the boat was rocking a bit, and after that accident, it's just hard to watch and not be nervous and worried. So,
well, I know I had you here to wait for this interview, but you can give him a hug right now. I know you're very proud of your driver. Okay, back to you guys.
Well, that was yesterday. This is today. Live pictures of that boat, and Chip Hanauer no longer is the driver. Jean Theoret going to be at the controls.
No, that'll be J.W. Myers. I talked to John last night, and he said the spirit was there, but he didn't have the wind.
So here are the official results of Heat 1A again from yesterday, the Muckleshoot results. You see Formula Boats, Haas Mortgage, the Express.
1-800-COMCAST, and is presented for Seafair by Key Bank, proud sponsor of the Key Bank Air Show.
Here now, your Muckleshoot Casino lineup from first all the way out to lane 5. Old Boy Alberto inside. Dave Villwock in the Elam Plus in lane 2. Grandview on the Lake in 3. Jones Racing is in 4. That's David Williams piloting, and the Whirlpool Miss Albert Lee with Brian Perkins at the controls in lane 5. Here's your course conditions. Climbing are the temperatures, 83 degrees, but the wind lightening up just inside of a minute. How about the fastest boat on the water, Patrick?
Well, Jack in the Box congratulates Phil Walk in his orange Elstrom Elam Plus, ripped around the course at 154 miles, 154.317 miles an hour, picks the number 2 lane, and Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu, any time of day, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you very much, Patrick. They're up into the upper corner now, and of course, based on their qualifying speeds in this first stanza, the choice of lanes went to Dave Villwock. He took number 2, likes that better. He's going to try to keep the Oh Boy Alberto inside of him. He's going to test Steve David right away. In lane 3, it's the Grandview on the lake. That's the U3 boat, the Allison-powered boat with Jimmy King. Jones racing with David Williams, and on the outside, we have the U48 Whirlpool presents Albert Lee. Here they come to the line. Good start, and right away, we hook up the Elam and the Oh Boy Alberto. No surprise there. The Alberto is right on the buoy line, the Elam right outside, and the Alberto seems to have a bit of advantage, Chip, as they come off the exit pin.
Dave Villwock giving away that lane 1, had to make sure that he wasn't ahead of him at the start. But he let Steve David get a better start, and now he's going to have to work really hard to go around him on the outside, but it looks like he might get it done.
He's got it by about a boat length down as they enter into the upper corner for the first time. Oh, Elam loses the skid fin and loses a little bit of ground as a result of going over those parallel rollers in the corner, and Steve David pushes him outside just a little bit without violating the lane and comes down to the start-finish line, a half a rooster tail ahead as they come across the line at the end of lap number 1, and this was a fast one.
First lap at 145.784 miles an hour. That's screaming.
They're really screaming for competition into that lower corner again. Here is a real duel, Chip. Carry him through.
Well, unfortunately, Dave Villwock got into that rough water right there, and look at what that did. It set him way back, and Dave Villwock might have made a big mistake by letting Steve David have that inside lane.
And he's kind of kicking himself, and he's also keeping the throttle down as he comes up on the outside again. He's got a tougher time this time trying to catch Steve and David. They look a little closer in that particular corner than they really are from the angle that we're looking at them. But out of the corner now, Steve David again trying to push Dave Villwock out just a little bit. Still about the same margin at the end of lap number 2 as at the end of lap number 1. Although this time Steve David is seeing less and less in the mirrors and more right out the side window as they come charging into that corner for the third and final time.
Steve David's got to have a good corner here, and he's got to hope Dave Villwock hits some of that rough water, but Dave Villwock stays up. Dave got into the rough water again, had to go out, and that might have given Steve David the little advantage he needs, but it's going to be tight.
Now he really pours it on Pat.
Oh, they're bow to bow. This is an unlimited hydroplane race to be remembered. Turned the last lap at 148 miles an hour. Call it through that corner, Mike.
He found his way back to the front this time. Dave Villwock did, and this time he's going to have to try to keep Steve David pinned. And again, Steve David pushes him out a little bit, regains the lead off the exit pin. Here they come down to the start-finish line. This is going to be just pure horsepower, and that'll belong to the orange boat. And Dave Villwock wins Heat 1B. Right behind him, it's the Oh Boy Alberto. Very tight race.
Villwock turned that last lap at 147.8 miles an hour.
And Chip, despite getting into that rough water in those corners, Dave definitely has a little more beans under the bonnet.
He does, and Dave did a really good job. He, here comes we've got who's that finished in third, Mike?
That's the Albert Lee coming through in third place now, and that's Brian Perkins, and we got a good battle between David Williams and Jimmy King for fourth and fifth, and David Williams will take the measure of that one as he brings the U9 across the Jones Racing, and the last boat across the line, the U3 Grandview on the lake.
Yeah. Villwock really needed to make that work, and he worked his rear end off. Giving away that inside lane, you are really being very confident that you've got a great boat and that you're going to have really good water in lane 2. He didn't really have that great of water in lane 2. You saw him get to the corner with Steve David a number of times side by side. He'd hit some rough water, it'd force him out, and Steve would get the lead again.
So there's your unofficial winner in the Elstrom Elam Plus, Dave Villwock, looking for a 10th win here at Seafair. Let's head down and hear from David. Here's Guard. How much is the average cost of fuel to run a hydroplane in a single full race? What kind of fuel? How much do the boats hold, and how much does it cost?
I really can't tell you how much it costs per gallon, but what's interesting is these boats run on the same stuff that your oil furnace runs on. So if you have an oil furnace and that's a diesel or a kerosene, these engines were actually built as a combat helicopter engine, and they've got a screw on them. And if you were down and run out of fuel behind enemy lines, you could put stove oil in it, you could put diesel out of a tractor in it, and it would damage the engine, but it would get you home. There's about 60 gallons burned per heat, except for the Boeing Bio boat. That's run on sustainable biofuel. It's made out of camelina.
All right. Now, what we're looking at here live, the boats are in the water getting set for heats 2A and 2B. Just a bit later, what are we going to see in Heat 2A coming up?
Well, I'm seeing a pattern. The pattern I'm seeing in the heats we've seen so far is lane 2 seems to be the magic lane. The other pattern is it's looking for good, smooth water. Imagine driving your car where there's patches of ice. You know how you try to avoid that ice? That's what these drivers are doing. They're looking for good pavement, so to speak.
And so far, we have good pavement out there on the shores of Lake Washington. That water doesn't have too much of a ripple in it just yet. But again, as Rebecca said, the winds are going to kick up later in the day. They will be a problem for these planes that fly along the water. And when we come back, they will be flying. Heat 2A, unlimited hydroplane racing. When we come back, we're just getting started here at Seafair. Welcome back, everybody. Let's go racing, shall we? Unlimited Heat 2A, and here are the stories we'll be watching. Steve David in the Old Boy Alberto. He was close in 1A. How about now? Have they dialed it in? The strategy paid off for the Elam. They picked lane 2. What are they going to do next time? We're about to find out. And he won Heat 1A, did Jeff Bernard, but does he have, as they say, the beans to stay with the other fast boats? We'll find out in Heat 2A.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Will Robinson Chevrolet in Low Overhead Marysville and is presented for Seafair by 76. 76 gasolines reduce emissions and maximize mileage.
Here is your Muckleshoot lineup for Heat 2A. The Grandview on the Lake, Graham Trucking, Old Boy Alberto, Elstrom, Elam Plus, FormulaBoats.com, and Jones Racing. To the course we go, and you'll see that all those boats are out there on the water, some a little sooner than others. Remember, they don't have to vie for a starting position, and we want to welcome all of those listeners on KJR Radio and at KairoTV.com who are dipping into our race coverage right now. Let us bring you the players in Heat 2A. Here they are. Grandview on the Lake with Jimmy King at the controls. Chip, it's nice to have a piston-powered boat.
It is. That engine was built to fight World War II. He's picked lane 1, but I don't think he can make it stick.
J. Michael Kelly, they've rebuilt the Graham Trucking boat, Mike.
And J. Michael could be a factor at the starting line in this particular one because he's just inside the Old Boy Alberto and the Elstrom Elam Plus, and that's a position that could cause the other guys some trouble.
Steve David won a week ago in the Tri-Cities in the Old Boy Alberto boat. He'd like nothing better than to win here in Seattle for Art Alberto. Jenny, how are they feeling in the pits?
I think everything's very positive here in the pits. Steve just walked over to his boat, gave me a big thumbs up, even made a little joke with me, inside personal joke. So he's all smiles here.
All right, Dave Vilwalk in the Elam Plus boat is generally not all smiles before a race, Michael. He's all business.
This is all business for him all day. He has to get points. He has to do well every heat. It's just simple as that. And he has so far delivered. But now he's out in the 4 lane, and he's going to have to test how well that boat handles out there.
Jeff Bernard had a win, as we said, Chip, in the earlier heat yesterday. Does he have the speed in this boat?
He does, but he really doesn't need to do much. He's already got a win. He just needs to be conservative, take a 3rd or 4th, and he'll be looking good.
Guard, is he that conservative?
He is conservative, but you know, Steve, the crew's a little bit concerned right now. They found a small crack in the swim step in the back of the boat. They put a small patch on it. That resin is a little bit sticky right now, and they don't expect that patch to last through this heat.
We'll find out. Finally, the U9, the Jones Racing boat, and Dave Williams, Michael, is just really happy to be out there.
They're happy to be out there and fill out a field. It's nice to see Mike and Lori Jones back in racing here on Lake Washington in Seattle. But David is going to see most of this heat from back behind.
So those are your boats. Those are the drivers. Pat O'Day, you've got a fastest qualifier for us.
Jack in the Box congratulates Dave Villwock in the Elam Plus 154.3 miles an hour. He'll be out in the 4th lane. And there's always an inside lane for you at Jack in the Box where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Let's go racing. And this could be an interesting charge to the starting line and into the first turn just because of the makeup of this heat. Grandview, the Allison-powered, Turbo Allison-powered boat on the inside. Graham Trucking right next to him, the Oh Boy Oberto. Then in lane number 4, the Elstrom, FormulaBoats.com on the 5 lane and the 6 lane. Jones Racing, here they come. Very nice line. Let's see if they get into the line just right. Looks like they may have been right on the money as they come down into the first corner now. We've got a whole lot of rooster tails and a whole lot of speed. And in the inside right now, the Grandview is actually making itself a bit of a factor.
Jimmy King may make me a liar because I didn't think that old World War II aircraft engine could stay in front, but he's got a good start right now.
Well, the engine that won the war in the Battle of Britain is coming down the back now with Jimmy King, that boat from Evansville, Indiana, inside and the leader. And it has caused a situation for Dave Villwock because he's outside in traffic with lots of rooster tails between him and the inside of the race course. And he's trying to make up some time now. And already the Oh Boy Oberto's got a bit of a lead on him. So as they come off that corner, Jimmy King is making his owner, Ed Cooper, very proud right now as the Allison comes across the line. First place, a whole rooster tail over the Oh Boy Oberto. And in third and trying to wheel in the Oh Boy Oberto is Dave Villwock in the Elam Plus Pat O'Day the speed.
That Allison engine is singing happy birthday to Seafarer at 147 miles an hour.
Important corner down here, Chip, and they're starting to spread out.
Well, even more important than that is we thought maybe one of those guys jumped, but we know officially it's a clean start, so Jimmy King is really doing a heck of a job here.
And he really has horsepower, whoop, but there was a big backfire in that turbo just now as he enters turn number 2 for the second time around. But Jimmy King is getting a great boat ride, and he's showing us that those old V12 1710 cubic inch engines still have a little bit of poop in them because they can make it. And he's coming down, well, a bit of a fly there, but he's coming down to take the white flag for the final lap, and he's now extended his lead.
Mike, what's more important is this race back here for second place because Steve David got beat by Dave Villwock in the first heat, so if he can beat Dave Villwock here, that's going to help him. So I think that race for second place is really important what happens today.
These are quick laps. That last one was at 143 miles an hour for Jimmy King.
Jimmy King looks like he's on his way to the bank here in the third and final lap of Heat 2A. And right now it does not appear as though the Elam Plus is going to be able to catch Steve David and the Oh Boy Oberto, both of them getting a little loose down on the back chute. But on the inside, trying to reel in the whole crowd, is Jeff Bernard now in the Formula1.com, or FormulaBoats.com rather, out of the corner for the last time. And this has got to make the boys from Evansville awfully proud because they haven't been able to put together 3 heats of racing all season long. It's been one disappointment after another. But right now, here's a checkered flag for Jimmy King and Ed Cooper's Grandview on the lake. Second place will be the Oh Boy Oberto, and we're even now again. We're just like we were when the race started as far as points for the National High Point. It was give 100, take 100 in this particular situation.
I tell you what, Mike, that is critical. If Steve David would have got beat on the outside twice in a row, that would have sent a very bleak message for them for the rest of the day. All of a sudden now that team's going to have a lot of motivation.
Well, as Steve said yesterday, his team is giving him a little bit more boat. He didn't show it all in that first
The
heat.
order of finish was Grandview on the lakes with Jimmy King, Oberto, followed by the Elam, followed by the Formula boat.
Lane 2 or 3, so it's going to be guesswork, and I think in the final heat it's going to be luck.
I think it also has something to do with what kind of traffic goes into turn 1 and who's inside of you, because that particular moment when that boat went in to the corner there, the 3 boat with Jimmy King driving, you knew all of a sudden that everybody else was going to have to work a whole lot harder than they planned to.
It's looking for dry pavement. I'm going to go back to that analogy. When you're going to work and you have patches of ice, you're looking for dry pavement to get traction. These guys are looking for smooth water to gain traction. Every time that prop comes out of the water, it spins. You lose momentum. So they want to keep that prop hooked up.
Hard to believe on a 90-degree day we're talking about icy roads, but be that as it may.
Okay, bad analogy. I'll come up with another one. Give me some time.
Oh, and it is a spectacular day. You were just looking at a beautiful shot from high above of the finger piers here, the pits on the shores of Lake Washington. Normally this is just a quiet location, and you see some people will come out with their shells and they'll row around the lake. But today this is one massive humanity between the boats and the fans and the pit crews and all the rest. We are just in for a great day of racing here. This 60th Seafair celebration. Patrick, it's keeping to your liking here, exciting boat racing and lots of people having fun.
Oh, is this just great? The sun is shining down, Mount Rainier's happy, the log boom is filled with boats, and eat your heart out, NASCAR. Have you ever seen closer racing than we've seen out here today? This is beautiful.
Well, let's take a look at some beautiful unofficial results right now as we have them. Again, as we've told you, this was a clean race, and so Grandview on the Lake, Jimmy King gets first place. The Old Boy Alberto second. Dave Villwock and the Elstrom team third. There's Graham Trucking fourth. They held that boat together after rebuilding it for this weekend. Formula Boats, and finally Dave Williams and the Jones Racing team.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by Roy Robinson Chevrolet in Low Overhead, Marysville.
Congratulations to Jimmy King and the Grandview on the Lake, the Geico photo finish winner of Heat 2B. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit us at geico.com.
So Jimmy King wins Heat 2A. What about 2B? We've got that one coming your way when we come back. Time to go racing one more time. The Unlimited Heats 2B. And here are the headlines. J.W. Myers is now in the U37. How will he do in place of Jean Thioret? Kip Brown's uncle was a pretty good driver in his day. And this young man, Kip, is getting better every race. We'll find out how he does in 2B. Finally, Greg Hopp is doing double duty. The Unlimited Lights, the Unlimited. He's a busy man. And we've got Heat 2B coming your way right now.
Heat 2B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by the Point Casino. Fun 7 days a week. And is presented for Seafair by Tide. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide.
Here are your votes in Heat 2B. The U22 Airbag Services is out. Mike Webster will not be racing that boat in this heat. So you have the Mirage Boats, Albert Lee, the U.S. Northwest Express with Kip Brown, and Haas Mortgage with J.W. Myers. As we take a look, those boats also out on the course. Your Comcast conditions, temperature 72 degrees, but it is going to warm up, and so will the winds. They will pick up in just a bit. Meantime, we again welcome KJR radio listeners and KairoTV.com and take you to the guys driving the boats coming up here in Heat 2B. First off, we have the Greg Hopp boat, the U100 Leland Unlimited. Heat 1A at fifth place. He doesn't have a very fast boat, Chip.
Desperation. He has lane one. He has to win here, I believe, to have any chance for the final.
The Albert Lee boat, Michael. Brian Perkins is a fine young driver. Does he have enough speed under him?
This is a heavier boat than most, and Brian Perkins drives it as well as it can be driven. The boat has a lot of horsepower, good gearbox, good everything, except it's carrying a little extra weight.
We know that Kip Brown has been taught well by his uncle Nate Brown in the U17 Chip. Can he also teach that boat to go fast?
This guy's shown more improvement. If we were given a most improved driver award, hands down, Kip.
Guard, what are their feelings down at the pits right now?
Oh, they're all excited. They kind of want to stay under the radar. They struggled in Madison, struggled in Detroit, but last week in Tri-Cities, they had a qualifying lap at 160 miles an hour and a top speed of 193. They are ready to go racing this afternoon.
All right, Guard. Finally, the U17, the Haas Mortgage boat. Thioret is out. Myers is in. Mike, what's that mean?
Well, that switch means that Myers has got to get used to driving a race boat. He thought he was just going to be crewing today, but now he is out there. But this is a capable driver, one of your real unlimited hydroplane drivers, and if he can put it together, he's going to try to get a win here, but he's got to do it from the outside. This is a good outside running boat, though.
And Jenny, you talked to JW and his entire family. They're pretty excited.
Oh, they're excited. He's excited too, guys. As he was getting into the boat, he did his pre-boat ritual, giving a fist pump to every single crew member on the team. Got in. He's got his game face on.
All right, Jenny.
You know, the other thing that he's got to deal with, I'm talking about J.W. Myers, is he had no practice laps here. I think it was all John Theoret all week, so he's going out here seeing this race course really for the first time today. That's a disadvantage. He was also away from racing. Before John got hurt, he was running his roofing business, so he got pulled out, and he told me that he was not really mentally prepared, but I think this week he is.
I'm just curious, Jim, do you think we'll see John Theoret in a boat again?
That's a really good question. I think John Theoret and his family have some soul searching to do. I think they have to sit down. This is what I did. I'd sit down every year and say, is it worth it? Am I getting the joy and the satisfaction for the risk?
I mean, for all intents and purposes, this man was dead.
He was dead. And he's a very Christian man. He's very, very spiritual. And he told me that when he took that second gulp of water, he knew that was the end of his life. So he said he has a new appreciation for life. And when you've had a near-death experience in one of these boats, as I've had, you do. Every morning you wake up, you know that it's a gift.
Well, we're happy to have you up here as our gift to the broadcast gods. Meantime, speaking of which, the broadcast gods, we have one out at the start-finish line. That's Pat O'Day, and he's talking about the fastest qualifier.
And Jack in the box congratulates Fred Leland, Jim Harvey, who's crewing the boat, and Greg Hopp driving it. They got their wish, the inside lane. They qualified at 145.893 miles an hour. And Jack in the box, where you can get your wish of anything, anytime, on the menu, every day, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And, you know, I think this Leland team might surprise you just the way the Cooper team surprised us in the last heat. This is a boat that does have a little more speed than I think they've shown thus far. Jim Harvey's been twisting wrenches down there. He's no slouch, and the guys that are working on this are no slouch, and the guy at the wheel is no slouch, and he's in lane number 1. So let's see what happens now as Greg Hopp comes down. We got JW just a little bit early. I think he might possibly go across the line too early. Yes, he did, and that just takes him out of it. But Kip Brown got a good start in the 17 boat as they come down into that first corner, and on the inside, being a little bit conservative, it's Greg Hopp as they go through turn number 1, Chip.
I love J.W. Myers. I have to say he's a good friend, but he's really struggled. I think it's because he hasn't prepared, for this season. Jumping the gun there was the last thing he needed to do.
And they're going to let Kip Brown know that happened by radio, so he isn't going to try to put a whole lot of pressure on JW, and JW will yield the position as he's already done. But now this means that Kip Brown has to worry about Mr. Greg Hopp no longer. Greg has just swallowed a ton of water up in that corner, and he is just about down off plane at this point. Across the start-finish line, your leader, even though physically isn't going to be the leader in terms of poking his nose across.
Everything's changed, Mike. Everything's changed. It's a clean start. You're watching a race for first place for these two young guys.
Well, now that comes to the surprise because I saw a digit or two on my clock here before they came across the line. But if that's the official word, then we've got ourselves a boat race, and that's the word that each of the drivers are going to be told. And JW is heading down the back chute. Now, what was that first lap, Pat?
Well, that was 139 miles an hour. Greg Hopp has restarted after being dead in the water in the north turn.
All right, we are in the second lap now, and as we come around for the second time here, J.W. Myers in the 37 boat has the lead. I apologize. I thought he jumped the gun. I saw a digit or two on our unofficial clock, and I figured he was early. He backed off trying to make sure that didn't happen, but Kip certainly made a great start as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though Kip Brown has the ability to even chase him down right now as we've started to string out just a little bit. What was the speed on that one?
140.447.
JW's getting some speed out of that boat, Chip.
JW, this team needs a shot of good news. This team has been through the worst experience you can have in racing. JW winning this heat, not assuring him a place in the final, but giving him a good shot is going to be a real shot of adrenaline for this group.
And the disappointment, if you will, seems to be the Albert Lee. They have not run real well at all here. They're trailing a distant third place overall, and in fourth place, way back a half a course length, and coming down just to end lap number 2 right now is the Leland Unlimited boat with Greg Hopp driving. He swallowed a lot of water. All right, checkered flag is going to come up for the winner of this heat, the U37 Haas Mortgage, with J.W. Myers, who wins another heat on Lake Washington after a long dry spell up behind the wheel. Second place, Kip Brown, driving the Northwest Express red dot boat, and he comes across the line. And way back there, coming down now, almost a half a course length behind, it is the Albert Lee, and that is Brian Perkins.
Mike, if I could talk about this Albert Lee team that you're looking at here for just a second.
they're not really looking to do anything here. They know that the boat they have is over 700 pounds overweight. That's like driving around with a cow on the rear wing. What they're doing is they're building a team. They have a new boat they're going to build, they're going to introduce next year. So what they're working on is gearboxes, engines, their communications, getting the right staff. You watch this Alberta B team next year, you're going to see a real change of it.
That was a big disappointment for Greg Hopp. I think he caught a rooster tail, didn't he?
He got a little tight into a wake there and swallowed some water. But he did finish. He restarted. He did finish. He picked up some points. That's what it's all about. You got to finish in order to get there to the final. You got to get points.
He hosed himself down and restarted and finished fourth for this event.
You know, last week when it was so hot, I was hosing myself down almost hourly. Greg Hopp just hosed himself down there.
How difficult is that, by the way, to jump from boat to boat, to go from an unlimited light to an unlimited on a day like this? That's a lot of work.
It's so hard. I never did it. Once I got into the unlimiteds, I just made a deal I wasn't going back because I wanted to specialize.
Time to go racing again. Get set. Heat 3A of the Unlimiteds coming your way here at Seafair. Let's take a look at this lineup. Dave Villwock in the Elstrom Elam Plus in the inside lane. Grandview on the Lake won a heat just a few moments ago. Then Northwest Express, Leland Unlimited, Jones Racing, and Buffalo Federal Savings is on the outside. Have not run, I don't believe, this weekend as I remember. That is the setup. Here is the lake, and the boats are starting to make their way out on the water. We'll get some fabulous pictures for you. We're coming up on 5 minutes before the start of this Unlimited Heat 3A.
Heat 3A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Budweiser, the great American lager, and is presented for Seafair by the Tulalip Resort Casino, #1 place to stay and play.
All right, here we go. The boats are starting to take their positions in the water. Let us find out after the Comcast course conditions. 78 degrees and a light 6-mile-an-hour breeze. A little bit of chop on this water. Let's find out who these drivers are now from inside out in Heat 3A. And the #1 team, Dave Villwock and the Elam boat. Chip, they are set for perhaps another first-place win.
And all he really needs to do is get a first or a second, and he's in the final, and right now that's all he cares about.
And Guard, you're down there in the pits. They've tweaked that boat a little bit, have they?
Yeah, they have. They put a new gearbox in it because they like the lane they're in, and they're going with that lower ratio, and we'll see what happens.
All right, the Grandview on the Lake. Jimmy King, surprising with his piston-powered boat, gets a win in the second heat, Michael.
And if he shows the same kind of power that he had in that previous heat this time, he's going to give Dave a bit to work with.
The U-17 U.S. Northwest Express. Kip Brown, Nate and those guys, Chip, have kind of wound it out a little bit better each time.
They are. Kip said earlier today that he's never won a heat. I think this one's going to be a hard one for him to do that.
Greg Hopp in the Mirage boats jumps out of his Unlimited Light, jumps into the Unlimited, and it's going to be a warm day for him today and a long day, Mike.
He got pinched in the north turn in that previous heat and didn't really get to show what he's got. He may have something left to show us this time. He needs the points desperately.
And Jenny Hogan has been following those in the Mirage boat pit. Jenny?
Yeah, this is a new boat here. This is the Muscatel I've been following, and they've been making changes all morning to this boat. They've got a new skid on it, they said, because it wasn't running right before, so we'll see how it runs in this one, Steve.
All right, Jones Racing Team, David Williams, the museum curator who's racing against the big boys.
That's right, Steve. He can curate your museum or he can drive your unlimited hydroplane, your choice.
And the fastest forensic psychologist in the history of the world is Dr. Ken Muscatel, but they're still going to be working on that one in the Buffalo Federal boat. No, I think they're actually out on the water, are they not?
They are indeed, and it's a delight to see them out here. Oh, we just had a spin. Kip Brown just spinned in the corner there. He's trying to get it back again. But Ken Muscatel is there in his brand new, beautiful, beautiful Husky purple boat. Gotta love it.
In fact, he is swinging around that corner, and there is Kip Brown trying to relight the fire. How difficult is that, Chip?
It's hard, and you saw a little bit of fire coming out of that back, and that's means he's on the start fuel. He's putting fuel in again. Why he spun out, that we don't know.
Really is kind of amazing. They weren't certainly up to racing speed at that point.
No, but actually these boats are very hard to drive at under 130 miles an hour. These boats are designed to operate and steer well at speed. At slow, they handle like a 1950 school bus. They're terrible.
And you've driven both, so you know.
I've driven both. I've ridden it.
So we should have some pretty good racing here. Dave Villwock has not run from the inside lane yet today. He's going to have lane number 1.
This is a good time for him to try it out. There's really not too much of a threat to him here. If Alberto was here, he'd be putting a lot more effort. This is a good experiment for him to see where he wants to be in the final.
You know, we've heard from all the drivers, Mike and Chip. We haven't heard from you guys. Mike, when you look at this, you don't see guys slowing down, going off plane, jockeying for position. What do you think? How do you like it?
I like it. I wish they could do that without having to do it in a formula basis and just actually have to never go slower than 130 miles an hour and still grab the lanes, put the suspense back in the starting sequence that isn't there with this process. But we're getting cleaner starts now. The fans, I think, can understand what's going on. And what's going on right at the moment is Jimmy King's got to catch up with the rest of those guys.
All right, Michael. How about the fastest lap, Pat O'Day?
Well, Jack in the Box is congratulating this heat the Elstrom family, that Ballard Bullet, the Elam Plus. Dave Villwock at the wheel. He qualified for this heat and for the entire weekend at 154.3 miles an hour. Now, Jack in the Box is the place where you can get anything on the menu any time of the day. Thanks, Jack in the Box, and thank you, Mike Fitzsimmons.
And we go up to the north turn to get ready for our starting charge, and trailing, as you can see from Chopper 7, we're looking at that boat for you watching or listening on KJR. He's going to get into that second slot just exactly where he is supposed to be, so he will be a factor in this start. Jimmy King will, as they come around. They're just a tad on the early side in the upper corner right now. Just a little off speed in terms of their timing. Jimmy King is going to come out with a good head of steam right now, and he's going to test Dave Villwock on the inside. Villwock and the Elstrom on the inside. Grandview, the U3 in lane 2, the 17 in lane number 3. They come across the line. Dr. Ken Muscatel makes a very good start, but the Elam has the speed as they go down into the first corner. Right next to him, though, is that turbocharged Allison.
I hope that turbocharged Allison just settles in and takes the second. Those old World War II aircraft engines, they don't take a lot of stress. So I hope he just settles down, takes the second, and find himself in the final.
Off the corner now and halfway down the back chute already. It's Dave Villwock in the Elstrom Elam Plus. Jimmy King is keeping the pressure on. He's in the middle of the rooster's tail. We've lost the 9 boat. David Williams is down now in the lower corner. That's going to create a bit of an obstacle as the boats come down for the second time. Right now, Dave Villwock is up coming out of the turn number 2 up by the Lake Washington floating bridge, and he comes down to take the flag for the end of lap number 1. He is keeping a lead on the Turbo Allison boats, and both of them are pretty fast.
Villwock turned in at 146, and Jimmy King's at 142 miles an hour on the first lap.
So that's not slouching, Chip Hanauer. They're still working it.
There's a lap penalty on the 100, but I want the viewers at home to kind of do a little research here. Watch the Elam boat and get a close shot of it, and then in the next heat, watch the Alberta boat, and you decide which boat has the best boat ride, how steady it is, because that may be the key to winning the final.
Well, Elam is deliberately set to run a little bit loose and get some air under it. He's running through traffic now. The 9 boat got restarted, and he's passing it right now in that upper corner. David Williams getting out of the way wide. And here comes Dave Villwock now. It's all his here. And I think that Jimmy King took your advice, Chip, and he's going to pick up the 300 points there. He's had a good couple of heats if he does that, and that's going to give him sufficient to be a player in the final heat as well by making some decent choices as far as lane selection will be concerned. One more time around now for Dave Villwock in the Elstrom family's Elam Plus.
Turned the last lap at 143. He must be thinking a lap's time as it relates to the last race of the day in lane position.
Indeed, and frankly, Chip, I don't think he likes that inside lane very much.
I don't think a lot of people do, but you hate to give it away because because if somebody can make it work, it's really hard to catch them from the outside. You know, we talk about how old that old turbocharged Allison is. These turbines are old motors too. These engines were built in the late 50s, so these are not brand new off-the-shelf motors either.
Jimmy King has slipped to the inside trying to make up some ground there, but it isn't going to be enough. Checkered flag is out for the Elstrom Elam Plus. Dave Villwock picks up another victory here and moves a little closer to the Oh Boy Alberto in national points. Second, Jimmy King, another good run for the Cooper team in that Allison Turbo. And a distant third place now. Oh, no, it would be a third place. This is the boat down a lap, and that would be the Jones Racing.
No, Limited Unlimited, or Leland Unlimited is number 3, and then number 4 is Kip Brown.
Well, I have to say the Mirage boat that you were just looking at there, that's the 100. We did hear they got a lap penalty. I don't know if it's for a jump gun or another infraction, but Greg Hopp has got a lap penalty.
And Dr. Ken Muscatel is going to get a checkered flag for the first time this year, and that feels good to him on Lake Washington. No doubt he had a tough time getting into the race. It was basically the referee's option that allowed him in. He didn't actually qualify for the race, but it's a delight to see him out there. By the way, the starting sequence, they towed one of the starting buoys down about 30 feet and replaced it just a few minutes ago, which essentially gives us a straighter line. May also compensate for that second.
I think the story of that heat, Mike, was that Villwock drove the orange Elam as hard as he could, but Jimmy King stayed with him. What a day this is for the Cooper boat, the number 3, the Grandview Lakes Resort.
Absolutely kept the pressure on him. David Williams, though, finishes ahead of Greg Hopp here, having been chased because David went down and was able to get refired again. And of course, with the lap penalty for Mr. Hopp, he tried to catch it but didn't succeed in doing that. So David Williams gets scored 4th overall in the race, and 5th will go to the Mirage boats, the Leland Unlimited.
The boat you're looking at there with Dave Villwock, and Dave Villwock's now going to get out of the boat, go into the truck, and he's going to think long and hard about which lane he wants for the final, because he's tried 1, 2, and I believe 3, so he's got some selection to do.
And with his speed, and you've been in a boat like that, what would you choose, Jim?
That's a tough question. I'm going to go back to my icy road, because I think there's going to be a lot of luck involved. Luck as to, is the water going to be smooth when you get to that first corner in your lane? And again, it's just luck.
Chip, I got a question. Is that going to be, if you are tied in points, will that be a lapse time, best of lapse time for lane position in the final of the day?
Exactly. If both boats have the same number of points that go to a lapse time for the race, then that will give that person the selection first.
Well, then Alberto's got a big job to do when they come out here in the next heat, because I got to tell you, Villwock was just smoking out there.
He was, and he
In the Haas Mortgage, he was a happy heat winner. Can he make it 2 in a row? And how about Steve David in the sausage boat? Oh boy, Alberto. He's in that battle with Dave Villwock. And finally, Jeff Bernard. You keep waiting for him to sneak up in the Formula boat. Is this his time? Here we go. The lineup from Muckleshoot Casino for this Heat 3B. The Haas Mortgage boat inside. Oh boy, Alberto. FormulaBoats.com. Whirlpool. Miss Albert Lee. And then that Graham trucking boat with J. Michael Kelly at the controls. Take you out to the course, and there you go. The boats are in the process of finding their way around, and the temperatures just keep climbing here on the shores of Lake Washington up to 85 degrees, but the wind has calmed just a little bit. A little bit of light chop, though, out on that water, and we'd like to welcome in all those listeners on KJR Radio and those of you listening to us on KairoTV.com, anywhere in the world. Welcome to you. Mike Fitzsimmons, Pat O'Day, along with Chip Hanauer and yours truly, Steve Rabel, getting set for Unlimited Heat 3B. Let's take a look at the drivers. In the Haas Mortgage Investors Boat, Chip, it's J.W. Myers.
But J.W. Myers right now has to get a good second or first place finish to get in the final for sure.
Jenny, how are they feeling down in the pits about this coming heat?
Oh, they're cool, calm, and collected, guys. JW is in the cockpit making jokes to the crew. They're all having a good laugh. They put the thing down on him, and he went off all smiles.
All right. In the Oh Boy Alberto boat, the defending national champ, Steve David, has a couple of second places. Mike, can he break through here?
He can indeed, and he had the points over JW, so he made a choice to go to lane number 2. I think he wants to see what Dave Villwock discovered earlier in the day in the second lane and see if he can run around a fast boat from there.
Gard, none more experienced in this race than Steve David.
Oh, you got that right. He's ready to go. So is the crew. They set up for rough waters, and just being down here in their pit, I can really start to feel the wind. But this was something kind of funny. They want to stay out of the carnage. They say the Graham boat, the Formula boat, and the Haas boat, they say they're a bunch of show-offs. They like to go fast and sometimes a little too reckless. They don't want to get involved in any of that. They just want to score some points.
Oh, my. Well, this might be one of those show-offs here, perhaps. The Formula boats, Jeff Bernard, he is fast, Chip, and he is young.
I have to agree. I think Jeff Bernard has to be mature as a driver and think about when it pays to go fast and when it doesn't. I don't think he's learned that quite yet.
Brian Perkins hasn't had a lot of luck this week so far. A couple of third places, but he needs to get those speeds up if he really wants to compete, Mike.
And that's not going to happen this afternoon. The boat, as we've mentioned earlier, is carrying about 700 extra pounds, but he's going to give a good accounting of himself. This is a fine race boat driver, and when he gets a good boat under him, look out.
We talked to J. Michael Kelly during the course of this week with his brand new baby and girlfriend by his side. They were scared to death after what happened in Tri-Cities a week ago, but they've got the boat running well, and J. Michael's a good driver.
He's an excellent driver. I think J. Michael Kelly may have more natural, God-given ability than anybody out there, but he needs a little break now.
So let's see if he gets it here in Heat 3B as we're a minute and a half away from the start. Again, all of the boats making their way back to the south turn, and then they're going to work their way down that backstretch, and get themselves into position in their lanes, Chip.
You know, we talk about something called parallel rollers, and parallel rollers are waves that come off the log boom, which is out here, and they just line up as the boats go down the straightaway. What happens is the sponson gets on either side of those rollers. So if you get a sponson on one side and the other on the other, it's actually like it's in a ditch, and it starts to steer itself. So it's very difficult. What you're seeing right now when the boat's going that slow, that's very difficult. Even though he's going slow, the boat just doesn't want to steer.
And when we're talking about going fast, it's difficult, Pat O'Day, to go fast when you have those parallel rollers and you've got the fastest for us.
And that Jack in the Box congratulates the fastest qualifier in Alberto's The Jerky boat. Steve David jerked it around the course in qualifications at 152.5. Now, Jack in the Box will never jerk you around. You get anything on the menu any time of day. They're at the Floating Bridge turn, and Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And JW was just up there way too early. And so he had to come way down on throttle, as we pointed out to you. He's now ratcheting up again, but he'll have the inside lane advantage. The real test here is whether or not Stephen David, with a quick boat inside, which JW is driving, is going to be something that he can drive around from the 2 lane, because there's a possibility he'll be seeing Mr. Villwock in that lane pretty soon. Here they come to the start and finish line, and they're across the line. We'll wait and see whether that's a legal start from the official standpoint, but we've got a whole lot of horsepower coming down into that first corner, and it looks as though Steve David leaves just the lane and is going to take the advantage from lane 2.
Although it was a legal start, it was not a fast start. As a driver, you've got 2 jobs. One is to get to the line on time, which they did, but also to get to the line with as much boat speed as you can. They didn't have a lot of boat speed.
Well, out of the corner, he's going to have to be faster than that. Lane 2, if he gets in the final heat, Steve David will have to be. But right now, J.W. Myers is in his mirrors and giving him no quarter at the present time. And coming up on the outside is Jeff Bernard with the FormulaBoats.com. He's staying in the thick of it as well in the 3 lane on the outside. Okay, coming down to the start-finish line at the end of lap number 1. It's going to be the old boy, Alberto. Stephen David still fighting that national championship fight in this heat as well. He comes across the line first, pat the speed.
138 for Steve David, 135 for J.W. Myers.
So they're not going blistering fast here right now, and that's probably due to some good strategy, although J.W. doesn't want to let him go yet, Chip. He's staying right with him.
J.W. Myers' biggest fan right now is Dave Villwock, because if J.W. Myers beats Alberto, that probably gives Dave Villwock to pick a lane for the final. So Alberto's got to stay in front of the Haas boat if they want to have lane pick for the final.
And you know, for a rusty driver, J.W. is driving a pretty good race here right now. He's staying right up with Steve David, and they're both coming through that corner a lot faster than they did the last time. In fact, J.W. got a beautiful turn out of that one. He lost a little space, however. They got pretty close together there.
What you're seeing is a little desperation there. Steve was being pretty friendly there when he thought he had a lot of boat. He could just go around him, but now you see him cinch down and make him turn a tighter corner. So Steve David realizes how much is at stake here, and he cannot let J-Dub beat him here.
End of lap number 2. Steve David's still out in front as they go through that lower corner. Pat, what's the speed that time?
He's picking it up, 143 miles an hour that time. Right? He said, J.W.'s after me. I better get on that throttle.
J.W.'s still after him because he isn't going to let go right now. That Haas Mortgage Investors boat is in this thing for sure. J.W.'s going to keep the hammer down into this corner for sure. He thinks maybe he can take the measure of that Alberto boat from the inside here. What a good tight corner by J.W. Myers. Let's hope he can hold that skid fin in and doesn't jump sideways because he'd be right in the rooster tail. Oh, good corner also by Stephen David, nice and tight. I don't think there was any encroachment, but the boats did get pretty close. Here comes Steve David flying that boat across the start-finish line for the checkered flag in the old boy Alberto. Right behind him, J.W. Myers in the Haas Mortgage Investors.
What happened?
143 miles an hour on that last lap.
What happened in that last corner is they came off the exit pin, the last buoy of the corner. Steve gave him what they call a hip check. You know, he looked like he was going wide, but then he came in real quick, and you'll see that the J.W. Myers had to turn left quickly to hold his lane. So Steve David really worked hard because there was a lot at stake.
Yeah, he pretty much had to put him into the boards there just to be sure he could sew this one up.
He did.
And that's exactly what he did. A legal move, perfectly legal move, good boat racing.
But not a Steve David typical move. When you see Steve be that aggressive, you know he knows there's a lot at stake. Steve is usually the most gentlemanly driver out there, but right there he had his hands full, and he needed to make sure that J.W. Myers didn't get that victory.
The order of finish was the Alberto, followed by the Haas Mortgage. Number 3 was Graham Trucking, and 4th place went to Albert Lee Appliance, number 48, U48 with Brian Perkins.
So now, of course, it comes down to numbers to see who has the best overall score through 3 stanzas and makes a determination as to what lane they're going to start in between the Elam, of course, and the Alberto, and that is a little drama yet to come to make those sorts of choices. A little bit of a disappointment. Jeff Bernard was in it for about a lap and a half, but he kind of gave the rest of them plenty of room after that and satisfied himself with 3rd place.
I think we're going to get a chance to look at that hip check we talked about. And as they come off the corner, what they do is they come off the corner here, and normally Steve David would just give him a ton of room there, but Steve David came off and then kind of went like this, and poor JW really had to veer. And when you have to veer, it really kills the speed because you want to keep the boat momentum.
Right,
so here they come around here, and he's giving them plenty of room, plenty of room. Now watch, we'll see an aerial shot here, I think. Is now look at him kind of cinch it up, and JW has to really grab a lot of left. You see that big swerve he did right there?
Yeah, he had 35, 40 feet of space between the buoy and the Alberto, so he gave him plenty, plenty of room.
Here's a room. Now watch the aerial view. Watch the arc that Steve David has, and watch it change here at the end, and watch what it does to JW here. They come around the corner. Whoop, he's getting awfully close here, so he had to veer back, and now there's that room between them. That probably cost JW about 7 or 8 miles an hour and ensured the Oh Boy Alberto victory.
And that's a veteran driver.
It's a veteran driver doing a very clean but aggressive move. Steve David never does that stuff unless he has to, and I think he had to.
And in this particular case, JW learned a little something from that situation. I'll guarantee he won't put himself in that position again.
Yeah, JW, he hasn't raced for over a year, I believe, and he just got pulled off the top of a roof. He has a roofing business. So I think just now he's finding his race legs, because when you're pulled out of obscurity and you haven't been working out all year and you haven't been thinking about racing, it's hard to just jump in a boat. But you can see he's pretty darn happy there.